Good Thursday night, world, and welcome to another episode of Band Dog Talk, aka Lab Talk, with the Dog God, aka the Coach, aka the Elon Musk of high performance working dogs. That is me, and we are live. Oh, yes. Salute to Young Ready with that pole position. Cooper. Big salute to you, Coop, coming in at second. And yes, whoever comes in at third, I will give you your salutes as well. But man, welcome to another episode of Band Dog Talk, aka Lab Talk with the Dog God. And yes, we're gonna have a great cook up tonight, like we do damn near every night in the classroom, man. We cook great meals every time when it comes to these damn dogs, don't we? That's right. But before I get into my week, my debriefing of my week, man, get your herbal sensations ready to go. Get your brewskis ready to go. Get your shots ready to go. Get your mixed drinks ready to go, man. Before we get started, so we can curb the edge. And you know how the coach do. I keep it simple. I got that vodka lemonade. What's good with you, Tony? Tony with that third place, man. 1, 2, 3. Big salute, Tone. But yeah, man, get y'all's, comfort, solution. We're gonna call it a comfort solution, right? Your solution to comfort after a hard day, your herbals and alcoholic beverages, man. Cheers to y'all, man. Much love and respect to you guys. Welcome back to the classroom. Oh yeah, oh man, I always need that. After a hard days of work. Oh man, as far as my week goes with with the animals and just doing everything. Solid week. Getting everybody groomed actually. Um, everybody's in a shed town, everybody's shedding out, especially my Kangal and then my Mal, my Kangal especially, because they got that double coat. So just brushing her, trying to get her nice and tight because it's hot out here in our climate. I'm out here in California, and she's from Serbia. You know what I mean? So it gets cold out there. So she's shedding off all that thick ass fur, so I have to do some extra brushing, which is a lot. You know what I mean? But she's looking nice though. She's looking real nice. You know what I mean? Gonna have her fur looking real nice and pretty, nice and tight for the summer. Doing the same for my Mal. You know what I mean? Doing the same really for all the dogs, man. So I've been doing a lot of grooming this week. I also finally got my training area all I gave did a nice little fade, gave my training area a fade. What that means, y'all, I, you know, did out all the weeds and chop down the grass, stuff like that. So now the training area is all nice at that dice. So, soon we're going to be doing some showing and telling of the dogs. I know a lot of you guys have probably, missed the content of the dogs. Like I said, I've been very busy. So now that I've been, taking care of this yard work and, getting everybody all groomed and stuff like that, like I always tell y'all, I'm a one-man band. I do everything on myself. I do all the jobs. I play all the instruments, dance, and yes, even sing. I do it all, man. One-man band. That's the coach. So, I'm just getting everything dialed in, getting, all the dogs. I want all the dogs looking really nice. And yeah, they're looking good too. They're looking really nice. So when you guys see them, you guys going to be impressed. I'm sure you will be impressed. But that's what I've been doing this week. Y'all know I always be talking about my Formula One Bulldogs and, just how impressed I am with just the variances, the genetic variances. You know how I love the variances, especially when you have top tier like genetics in your dogs, right? So you want to see, at least, well, I'll speak for myself, because I know a lot of the genetics behind my dogs. I like to see a combination of those genetics play out in the puppies. You know what I'm saying? Now, temperament wise, I have an idea based off of the parents, right? But for the most part, that's the spirit. Like I told y'all, we don't predict the spirits that God puts in our animals. All we can do is predict the DNA combinations. It's still a prediction. It's not an exact. But looking at you know my Formula One bulldogs and seeing every one of them are they're different, right? And like there's there's uh, like similarities to the parents, right, between them all. But at the same time, there's stuff that I can gauge a little bit where it might come from, but there's stuff that, based off of the lineage and how, let's say Red Tiger's genes blended in with Tigress's genes, and then everything behind them, right? Everything behind them. And that breeding for me between them two was a hybrid vigor breeding, right? Because they're not related, two different lines bred different ways. Um, I know that Red Tiger he was produced line bred. He was like line bred. So that produced Red Tiger, right? Because that was Buff Dog's formula for their what they call Rocky Mountain Bulldoggy. So that was line bred, you know what I'm saying? Heavily line bred. And then Tigress is a total outcross, right? So combining those genetics together, having an idea of what I'm going to get, but then seeing the different variances in the puppies, man, I just been, just in awe at just the variation right now. And right now they just turned 5 months, and so now they're starting to get into get ready to start getting a height. So they're starting to get into their lanky, longer stage. But for me, I've dealt with dogs so much. You know, I I let my dogs grow. I don't really gauge what my dogs are going to be until they're about 3 years old, because then that's when, for me, that's when things start to pop. You know what I'm saying? That's when they start to get more rear. You know what I mean? Heads start widening out. Like, just a lot of stuff happened at 3 years old to where I'm like, okay, now I can see where you're going. But right now I'm starting to see their range. But what I'm very impressed by, I'm super impressed by the motors on them dogs. As puppies. Just to see the motor and the intensity on these damn Formula One dogs is just like, I'm 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 very impressed. I told you guys before about my boy Tiger Shark, and how I had to do a lot. I'm gonna have to do a lot of work with him because he's very he's I wouldn't say he's not stubborn. He's just very, he's like, I want to make sure I say it correctly, because I don't want to pretty much put a title on him now because he's so young. But he's a little bullheaded. I can say that. I can say he's a little, but he's not hard headed. He's a little bullheaded. And what I mean by that is, like, calming him down, getting him to relax. When I give him attention, is just, it's been a task of mine already. You know, and seeing his drive already, and his will to fight, and his will to bite. And he's playful with me, right? Because I've been dealing with him ever since he came out the womb. But me knowing that energy, and me being able to harness that, and kind of, I'm shifting his mind to relax, even though he's on, 10 with me. Like, as soon as I'm in there, he want to jump on me. He want me to, as soon as I pet him, he's biting me. And he's just very rambunctious. And then me trying to calm him, because that's how I deal with my dogs that have high, 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 intense drive like he does at at an early age, I deal with him calmly. I don't like force him down. I don't, I deal with him calmly, even though I'm holding him firm. I'm still calmly with my energy. I'm petting him as he's biting me. I correct him and stuff like that. So I'm showing him an energy that's like calming, because a dog like that, he want me to be combative because that's what he's trying to be. It's a game to him. But for me, I'm trying to teach him like the off switch. We talk about the off switch. So early bird, I'm teaching that boy the off switch because man, oh man, the motor on that young puppy, man, is he's definitely not a dog that would be right for a pet home. And I I had him available, man. I had them all available. Y'all remember that? I had him available too. And I'm just like, now that I've decided to keep him in my program, right? I'm like, there's no way that he could be with another home. Like, it's very few dog men that can handle that type of dog. Like, that's a hard dog to handle, and he's a puppy. You know what I'm saying? But see, I understand his mind. You know what I'm saying? I understand why he's on that stuff because, shit, I put it in him. I put it in him. His dad was kind of extra credit, Red Tiger, but he's not like Tiger Shark though. Tiger Shark's on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, solid week, you know what I mean? Just taking care of all the dogs, getting all the dead fur off of them, getting everybody dialed in, got the yard all done, you know what I'm saying? Training area all done and cut up. So I gotta carry on up the hill and do that, do some more yard work up there. But man, solid week, you guys, you know what I'm saying? Very, very solid week. And yeah, I'm grateful for that, man. No drama. Um, which is great. No yard situations, which is awesome, right? So, but everything's good, y'all, man. So, yeah, that was my week, man. That was my week. But hey, big salute to all of you guys. Oh, we got Duro in the building. We got Duro in the building. We got Who's the Master? We got Who's the Master? Show enough. And then we got Caveman. Big salute to you, Caveman. Hey, make sure y'all go check out Caveman's channel, man. I mean, he got some good content over there. Danes and Strains is his channel, man. Make sure y'all go check him out. Give him a follow. Got some good game over there. Caveman be dropping. Also, y'all go check out Duro's channel too, man. Duro Ricio. Go check out his channel. He got a lot of good content over there. So y'all make sure that y'all go ahead and support some good dog content. You know what I mean? But, welcome to the classroom, y'all. You feel me? Welcome back to the classroom. I mean, my regulars. You know what I'm saying? My dog man engineers, right? Welcome to the classroom of the gifted and talented. You know what I mean? The ones that, want their PhD in this high performance working dog academy that we have over here. And I'm just grateful to you guys, and grateful to have you guys a part of the Super Dogman computer, because all of us is a collective here when it comes to this information, all of us with our minds and our thoughts, our ideas, our visions, you know what I mean, strategies, all that stuff plays, you know what I mean, information, all that plays into the Super Dogman computer. So I definitely want to thank you guys for showing up in the classroom, man. That is, like I said, I'm grateful for that, because it's hard to, I don't know. It's just when you're doing social media, a part of you be like, okay, do I want to do it for, the entertainment part of it? Because I know that, if I entertain, then, people want to show up there. Everybody want to be entertained, right? Or do I stick to, what I do best, which is coach? You know, I teach. And, of course, I got to stick to my roots, but, sometimes you get caught up in that stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, do I want to be entertaining? And I can be entertaining. You know what I mean? Even though I'm not an entertainer, I'm not an entertainer at all, but I could be entertaining. You know what I mean? I got a little bit of entertainment in me, but I'd rather not. So the fact that we all come on the live on Thursday night, make the time, and, we get, this game, this knowledge. Man, I'm very grateful, you guys. So salute to all my brothers in the classroom. Oh yeah. All right, but I'm gonna drop this this link. If you qualify, please come up because we're gonna cook. We're gonna cook. We're gonna cook. But I'm gonna drop this link and we're gonna cook. I'm gonna answer this text message. I think that's my wife, but I'm gonna drop the link. So y'all make sure y'all hop up in here when I drop the link. And we're gonna cook on this topic, man. All right, I just dropped the link in the chat right now. Boom. Come on down. I'm gonna drop the topic. CDC Cash Dogs, big salute to you. I'm gonna drop the topic at here. Hold on. My wife called me on FaceTime. Hold on, man. I should just call y'all, but hop on in. What's up? Hello?
So I don't know what to get. This is the biggest one. It's smaller.
What's up, dog, man?
Salute, salute, salute.
Hey, hold on, you guys. I'm on the phone with my wife real quick. Hold on real quick.
Nah, you good.
All right, I'm back. Sorry, you guys. My wife had to just give me a call, had to show me like some puppy carry-ons and stuff, man. There's a Formula One bulldog headed to Florida tomorrow. So yeah,
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, my wife is picking up that puppy carrier for the gentleman. So yeah, man.
Which one he getting?
There's he's let's see. I said I haven't posted any of the new, y'all ain't seen him. I haven't been posting anything, but he's a like a red brindle one. He's a red brindle, real nice one, man. He got a good one. All of them is fucking fire. You know what I'm saying? But he got a really good one, man. Really good one. And
is it kind of an orange?
It's like a red. It's like almost like a red brindle.
Yeah, that's the only one like that.
Well, there's two. There's like a female. Oh. There's a female like that, and then there's a male like that.
Yeah, I think it's the male. That's the one that the standout in the litter to me.
Yeah,
I'm partial to that color too.
Yeah, that to me, that color on that dog is that. I mean, man, it's amazing that just how vivid it is. You know what I mean, with the red and then the black.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and then he got the gold eyes to go along with it too. So the real handsome dude. You know what I'm saying? But what the individual don't really comprehend yet is like what type of dog that is.
Yeah,
though,
what type of dog he got. Yeah.
Right. That's what he don't really comprehend. So he gonna find out. I'll tell you that much. But I've been working with him all just to kind of calm him. Because I remember I always tell y'all with my dogs, do nothing to turn their drive on for the first year because I already know what time it is.
Right.
So the whole time I've been dealing with them, I've been trying to calm them, trying to get they off, just to get them in tune with the off switch. So he's okay. Like he loves it when, I pet him. And if I don't pet him, then I go in his spot, clean his spot up and stuff like that. If I don't pet him, then he bite me and shit. So that's why I said he don't really know what he got. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what you got. He kind of got an idea, but until you own one of them type dogs, you really don't know.
Yeah. And you send that dog with a checklist of do's and don'ts.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tell him just love on him, man. Just love on him and shit. You know what I mean? Because that's all I've been doing is make sure I go in there and just give them the attention they want. They love my attention, but I always want to give them that calm, and I'm doing that reverse energy, like calm yourself. So I get him in a space where I calm him, and I got him there. Like he loves it when I rub on him, and he's calm.
Yeah.
But it's the tiger shark dude that's he don't comprehend that calm shit.
They all together?
No, heck no. They
Separated
can't be
them.
together. Yeah, they can't be together now. You know what I mean? It's battle royale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody got their own space, and everybody's in their own spot. Ain't nobody having to fight over food or
Right.
none of the above. But yeah, man, I'm excited for him. You know what I mean? Because I know he was very excited about getting that boy, and he looks amazing, man. Looks amazing. And like I was telling y'all, like all of them got their own build, their own look. Nobody's the same. Head,
They own variation type.
yeah. It's like they exactly their own variant of what's in that genetic pool. So it's all different. They all are different. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing looking the same.
That's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, I like it because I'm real in tune with my DNA. So
Right.
if I know there's multiple dogs, like when I posted y'all, like when I posted my IG, the buff dog lineage, like red tiger and all that shit, all those, yeah. So when you see all those dogs, and then you kind of get an idea of, okay, that's all in red tiger's DNA, then it's like, okay, cool. Any of that variant of a look, temperament could come out. So
Right.
like there's one that I have is a male, and he's gonna be big, he's tall and shit, but he got them shoulders like his great-great-grandfather. He got them freaking big old bulky knotty shoulders already. I'm like, oh, I know where you got that shit from. You know what I mean? So seeing stuff like that, like, all right, I like that. I like that a lot.
So what's the tiger dude you talking about, the pup? What's his physique look like?
Oh, which one? The one that's going to
The wild one.
Oh man.
Bugging.
Okay, so his physique, like he's gonna be tall. He's got bone. He's straight. You know how some of the bulldogs had like the bow front, like kind of like Tiger. She kind of got the little like the bow in the front stance, right?
Yeah.
His legs are straight, but he got wide ass chest, and then he got the shoulders too. So he got the shoulders and the chest. He's got a face like Tigress. So his muzzle is pointy. It's like more taper, pointy in.
Yeah.
Right. Nice size head. He got the neck. Great angulation. Like he's gonna be a top tier dog for sure.
And the breathing is great for them.
Yeah, the breathing is fantastic.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, the breathing is fantastic on them, man. Because it's hot. So now you get to hear it. You know what I mean? And they be on their rah 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 shit.
Yeah.
So they be over there jumping around and all that stuff. So I see them work themselves, and it's just clear. I love that. Just I like to hear that shit.
Word.
So yeah, no, you guys are gonna be impressed. I'm a show. Like I said, now I got everything all dialed in the training area. I got to make sure there's no snakes in the grass.
Facts. Facts.
So I got
crazy poisonous venom.
Yeah. So I got everything all dialed in. So now I can just let them, kind of go out there and be little puppies, run around, do some Dora the Explorer, and just kind of do their thing and stuff like that, and then I'll just showcase them, let you guys see them. You guys will be impressed. You definitely will be impressed.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Gotta put
Yep.
that ticker up, coach.
I know I was pretty impressed with that one pup. He looked like the perfect American bulldog. What Red Brindle?
There we go.
Yeah, no, he's very nice, man. Very, very nice. He's like compact too. He's like more of the compact type. You know what I'm saying? I just love they build, man. I just mean great angulation. You know, like he's very handsome though. That one that's going to Florida, he's very handsome, man. Handsome ass dog. You know what I mean? So I know when he get him out there, you know, out where he live at, when he start doing that showing and telling, they're gonna be like, ooh ah, where you get that? Ooh ah, where you get that?
Yeah, he one of them.
Yeah, he definitely one of them. You know what I'm saying? A showstopper for real. But you know, he gonna learn about what's in him. Why I call him Formula One Bulldog. He gonna learn about that. He would definitely learn about that. But I'm gonna tell him, just like I tell everybody else, man. Hey, love on that dog, man. Make him your sidekick. Nurture that on-off switch now.
Facts.
You know, because I don't want him to have no liabilities, and he can't handle a dog that's got that level of drive and that level of intensity. I don't want him to, you know, have to worry about that. So, yeah, I definitely will let him know the rules and regulations of maintaining a dog like that, so that he can just nurture that dog's mind to be okay with being calm and collected.
That ain't a regular bulldog right there, man.
No, it's not. It's not no regular American bulldog. It's not no American. It's not no regular bulldog. That's another level. You know, and that's why I say when I showcase, you know, these youngsters, man, and then I got his brother. His name is Yellow Tiger. I named his ass Yellow Tiger and shit. But yeah, he takes after. He's more like takes after Red Tiger.
Okay.
As far as his phenotype.
Yeah.
But he can breathe too.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm like, okay. So hopefully he can, you know, it won't change. Hopefully it won't be like Red Tiger, you know, like Red Tiger JR.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As he got more, you know, as he got older and shit, and that muscle in that neck started.
That neck.
You know what I'm saying? That shit, I was hearing that, you know what I mean? I was hearing that. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they look good, man. They turned out really nice at that dice that they did.
They biting too. They biting too.
Yeah, they all be biting. They all be. But see,
Saying like homie.
huh?
They just saying
Yeah,
like
they're not like Tiger Shark. No.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah, Tiger Shark, but they all be biting though. All of them bite. You know what I mean? They just, I don't know. They just got like a. Oh, I just think they be just testing. You know, dogs gonna test your ass. You know, so they so rambunctious that shit. It's almost like like little Malinois puppies and shit. You know what I'm saying? They gotta have they mouth on shit.
Mouth on something.
Yeah, they gotta have. You know what I mean? Had to have their mouth on it. So it's it is what it is. But no, I'm very, very excited about them. And if Tiger Shark turns out the way I hope he turns out, then I'm gonna let him jump into my bull herder program and make a bull herder out of him. You know what I mean? So I'll probably do that for him. And then if Yellow Tiger turns out the way he need to turn out, which is a red tiger that can breathe,
yeah,
then I'll let him carry on the Formula One. I'll let him continue the Formula One bulldog genetics.
right. That'll be dope. That sounds interesting.
I gotta have them breathing, man. That's something I gotta have. I gotta have my dogs breathing at a high level.
Connect that. Gotta connect that to the family.
Only way to move forward, when it comes to performance, that's the only way to move forward.
Yep.
So that's the direction I'm going, man. But man, let's cook, man. Let's cook, man. This will be a great subject matter. And this is something that I've been thinking about, as far as like my own dogs, like what do I classify, my dogs as when it comes to their drives, and being that, we're dealing with performance dogs, and I'm Formula One, and my slogan, my motto is frames, brains, and motors. You know what I mean? So me thinking about the motors of my dogs and like what will make me classify a dog's drive as, a V6 if we're talking about a motor, if we're talking about a V8, or if we're talking about a V10 or V12, like what classifies that? What would be, my definition of a dog that is a V6 drive or V6 motor, or what's my definition of a dog that has a V8 drive and V10 and V12, etc. So, as I always do, always let you guys, elaborate first,
Yeah.
and give me your, what you would think. What would you like? If we saying a dog is a V6, we're not going 4-cylinder. We're gonna go V6s. We're dealing with performance, right? And there's some fast 4-cylinders out there, but a lot of them aren't naturally aspirated. A lot of them are gonna have turbos and stuff like that. But we talking V6s. There's some powerful V6s out there, naturally aspirated. You know what I mean? So we just talking about the natural essence of a dog's drive. What is a definition to you guys of a dog that has a V6 motor or a V8 motor or a V10 motor or V12 motor, or V6 drive, V8 drive, V10 drive, V12 drive? You know what I mean? Like what would your definition of that be? We can start V6 all the way to V12.
Shit.
Like give me your ready, give me your like synopsis on what that drive would be in a dog. Like if a dog was, let's say, had a V6 motor drive, what level of drive, like how does that look like to you?
It look like a dog that can run. It can run pretty fast, but it's going to stop at like maybe like it'll do like 3 blocks, maybe 3.5 long blocks,
Okay.
and then it's going to stop and pant.
Okay.
Probably be looking for water and stuff like that.
Okay.
So maybe like a German Shepherd. I always go for the German Shepherd. Like the German Shepherd.
Okay. So you say that you would say that a V6 motor type level of drive would be, like an example of that would be like a German Shepherd.
There's some that got bigger drives though.
Okay.
There's exceptions. There's always the exceptions.
Okay.
But most of them is like, yeah, V6.
Okay.
Unless they mind, like if they chasing, like somebody came into your yard and the dog broke the chain and it happened to be a German Shepherd that was watching the property and he had to give chase to the bandit. He's gonna probably chase him until he probably sees him get to like an obstacle the dog hasn't learned to get through, you know what I'm saying? And that's it. Like one of those, that level. Unless it was trained, then it's like, yeah, like that.
Okay. What about
Even like a poodle will do that. There's some V8 poodles though.
Yeah. No, I agree. So what level would be a V8? So let's say, okay, so you said like a V6 would be like a dog that's, it's fast, but it might not have as much stamina
Right.
as you would want it to have, right? Or it might
Like
be
golden retriever or something.
right? Let's say it's motivation to go get something is you know is there, but it's not, you know,
it's not that motivated.
right. It's like it's gonna do what you wanted to do as far as its drive, but it's not, you know, it's not giving you its all, or to you, it's all is not good enough. I mean, it's good,
I
but
could even go maybe a chow.
okay.
Like that joint's fast, but then it's also stubborn. So it's gonna quit. It's gonna quit and do whatever it wants. Maybe it will give the chase to, because it wants to bite something. Then maybe you calling it, I ain't listening. I'm still gonna do what I'm doing.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. What about a V8? Like what would classify a dog's drive to be, let's say, V8 level? And you know, us, you know, and like I said, we're using these analogies because if you are into cars like I am, a lot of us, especially if we're men, a lot of us are into cars. Not to say you women aren't, but a lot of us men are into cars. And you know, I've had 4 cylinders. I've never driven a V12 before, but I got a V10 Viper truck that I drive, so I know what a V10 feel like. I know what a V8 feel like, and I know what a V6 feels like. So, being that I know what those levels of power is, and how it distributes to a car, or how it relates to a car, you know, what would be a V8 in a dog's drive to you? Like what is that to you?
That's like dipping into like the hound classes.
Okay.
But them joints, they don't really gotta be that fast. They keep the endurance. They
Right.
could just keep their endurance going at a certain speed. They don't gotta go super fast and stuff like that. But they can, if they have the target in sight, they got a bullet to the target. So what would you say, caveman? Like there's hounds like that, right? And that's
Yeah,
the
well,
V8 hound.
okay. You'll have a hard time getting me to stereotype any breed or working class of dogs because there's so many variants in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if what I was thinking, and you're relating it to cars, then I'm going to relate it to the application of the car.
Okay.
You know, where you got your daily driver, your A to B car, your little 4-cylinder, your V6, whatever. Then you got your V8s for your working vehicles or your sporty vehicles.
Yeah.
You know, then right on up to the high performance. Well, they all have their different application.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense.
Depending what you put in them.
No, that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? So for me, right, because I think of, like I said, I think of a dog like a car. Like I told y'all, frames, brains, and motors.
Right.
And so with drive, there's a lot of elements to a dog's drive that I pay attention to because I've had multiple different breeds. I deal with a lot of levels of drive. And so depending on a dog's intensity is how I rate their motors. Now, most working dogs are driven to do something. And being that we're dealing with working dogs, that's why I said we're going to start with V6s all the way up to the high performance, which is V10s, V12s, right?
Yeah.
Some V8s, right? But not understand this. With the V8s nowadays, you know, they make the V8s high performance by throwing the superchargers on there and the turbos on there.
Dobermans, that's V8s. Doberman pinchers.
Dobermans, but see, you can have a small ass terrier that's a fucking V10 and V8.
Yeah, I was gonna save that for the pit bull, like around there and stuff. V10.
The fuel injected like he said, turbocharged, supercharged.
Yeah, that's that extra. That
That's
yeah,
what
extra
I'm saying.
hit.
But we're not even going to talk about the supercharge and all that stuff, right? We're just going to talk about the essence of like the rawness of the dog.
The
Because
raw power, yeah.
yes, because us as dog men or dog trainers, that's the ones that can take a V8 and put NOS on it, a V8 dog with that type of essence of drive, natural essence of drive, and put the turbo on it. You know what I'm saying? Know how to tune them up and bring more out of them. You know what I'm saying? Like motivate them to take it to the next level. It's like, you know how it is, like if I'm coaching an NFL team and I got superstars on my squad, but you know, they're just depending on their talent. Now I, get them that fundamental with their talent, and I put the hard work in there. Now they superstars,
Yeah.
Hall of Famers when I'm done with them. You see what I'm saying? So with
That's
the
kind
dog,
yeah.
wait, ready?
That's kind of like how a little bit how I was kind of thinking, like with the German Shepherds, some of them being V6, then they came in with the Doberman that had the extra battery pack on it,
Right,
that slimmer frame.
right.
This joint can run faster, and it got more endurance, and it wants to do the work more than the German Shepherd. So yeah, that's
man,
why I said
depends
the
on
Doberman
depends
being
on your German Shepherd.
8. Yeah, there's exceptions to it. There's
Yeah,
certain German Shepherds that's V8 engine.
yeah. There's some pretty elite German Shepherds. Pretty rough ones.
And that's the ones that's trained.
Now watch.
Yeah, the Red Army did a lot of work on the Shepherds.
Go ahead
You got
and
to get.
elaborate on that. Okay, man, elaborate on that.
Well, I mean, German Shepherds. You got sport clubs. You got show clubs. You got people that breed for police dogs. You got military dogs in different countries. And in Russia, Red Star Kennels. That's where the that big Ovcharka breeding and them Czech German Shepherds. They was breeding wolf into the German Shepherd and then picking all the culling through all the man shyness and getting those big wolf type dogs that had the nerve of a dog.
LGDs.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of that was done by Red Star Kennel for war
Nice.
dogs.
War dogs. Yeah, we're gonna elaborate on that later on too.
Police, military type shepherds and shit.
Yeah, we're gonna elaborate on that because that's as we climb up into the level of the motors, then based off of the jobs is gonna be what's gonna dictate the motors type on the dogs, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, for me, because I really do focus on the drives of my dogs, and I've seen different variances of my drives with the different breeds, and my band dog cookups, and having a Malinois, having a Kangal, having my pit bulls and shit like that, like being able to see different variances of drives and then being able to classify them. You know what I mean? Like, okay, what type of motor is this on a dog, right? And so the intensity, first of all, if we're dealing with working dogs, they should have drive, period.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna make everybody qualify.
Automatic. Yeah.
We're going to make them out the gate, out the womb, qualified V6s, right? We're going to qualify you V6 out the womb because genetically you got a motor. Now, over time, you as a dog man will assess your dog's drive. And certain dogs are motivated by certain things. So, for example, you might have a dog that's toy crazy or ball crazy and shit like that. And you're like, oh, this dog got crazy drive, right? Because they want to go crazy over a ball or whatever. They want to go crazy over his toy and shit like that. Oh, that dog got crazy drive. Okay, that's cool. Then you might have a dog like I've had before, like for example, like Shaka. You know what I'm saying? He won't look twice at a damn ball. You throw that bitch, you like what? Like, oh man, you got low drive or whatever, right? You might think, right? Because most dogs want to chase that shit. Flirt pole too. I thought do a flirt pole with his ass. He won't even fuck with the flirt pole. Like, I ain't fucking with that.
That's fake.
Right. But
Yep.
Fake.
Smart puppy there.
Right. But see, you got to understand, like, when you're dealing with these driven type dogs, us as dog men, we need to assess what motivates the drive, like what turns the motor on, like the key in that ignition of that dog's mind to turn them on. And then based off of him being turned on, how hard does he go for that? Or how hard does she go for that? And
You know,
in her mind or in his mind, right? Will that dog run through fire to get to what he wants? What, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Or does it have a like, okay, I'm gonna get it, but once I'm like done with it mentally, I'm not, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I can get it, but I'll get it later. You know what I'm saying? Like, as I started assessing my dog's drive, like what makes them tick in the drive, and then how hard they're gonna go at it, or the intensity of the drive, then I started categorizing the motors in my dogs, right? So like I said, the average working dog should be a V6, period. And honestly, for most of the pet home type, drivey type dogs, that's perfect. Is a dog that has a V6 motor. Okay. That's a good one. Some good naturally aspirated V6s is about maybe 300, 350 horsepower in a car. That's, you know, that's good enough for me to zoom, zoom, zoom. You know what I mean? Around town. You know what I'm saying? I can do, you know, a buck 80 in that car, buck 75 in that thing. You know, we're not really gonna be taking it that far, but you know, that's good enough for me. Giddy up and go, and I can zoom around town in, right? So same thing with your dog. You know what I mean? It's not overwhelming where you can't handle it, but it's gonna do the job, and you know, it's got some pep in its step. So that's a V6 dog. You know what I mean? Good enough, not overpowering, not overdriven, not intense, but driven for what is there to do. Whatever you want to play fetch with it, you want to do some wall climb with it, whatever. You know, you know, whatever it is that you could want to do with that dog, the dog's going to do it, and it's going to do it good enough. It's not, you know, it's not going to wow you, but you know, shit, you know, this dog can work. That is a dog for me in my mind. That's, I would say, okay, you got a V6 motor. You know what I mean? You can perform, but you're manageable. You know what I mean? I don't need no track control
They
with you.
got the off switch built in already.
Yes, got the off switch built in. There you go. There you go, ready. Got the off switch already built in. You know what I'm saying? Manageable is the key. Okay. You don't need no track. We don't need the traction control on with the V6s. Okay. You know, you can ski skirt when you pop the clutch, you know what I'm saying? Or you got an automatic, you punch that gas in, you might get some little, you know, but you ain't gonna fucking wrap that V6 around no damn tree because you gave it too much gas, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Right.
So, and that could be any breed though, too, ready.
Yep.
So, you know, chat, that could be any breed, because if it's a working breed, it has a motor. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Talking about the hounds, that's why I said that, because there's some that are real slow, cold nose tracking dogs that they never overrun a track. You know, they go from track to track barking. And then there's other ones that, I mean, they're cooking when they're running the track. And some of them, they don't even put their nose to the ground. They just wind it, trail it. They don't even track it. They trail it and run.
That's crazy.
And there's every trait to their working abilities is different. I mean, there's different variances.
Yes.
Especially when you go from like a blue tick to a red bone to a walker to a running walker.
Yep. Exactly.
They got one to fit every application.
Yep. And that's why for us, you know, we're breaking this down so that, you know, we as dog men who really pay attention to these things, we can classify our dogs drive. You know what I'm saying? Because then there's levels, like we said, when we start talking about police dogs, military dogs, you know, it's a whole different type of level now that we got to play in, because there's a lot of pressure involved. There's a lot of different things going on. But a lot of us don't really understand our dog's drive, right? And then how hardy is that motor, right? You know, and that ties into the mind of the dog too. Okay. So then let's go to the V8. Okay. Now, to me, a V8 level drive dog is a dog that is performing at a high level. Okay, you get into the V8s, that is, the dog can get a little squirrely, right? The dog can be damn near out of control, damn near not out of control, but out of control for what it's driven for, right? That means it's like if it's on it, it's on it. And you got to do some restraining, right? You got to do some restraining to kind of calm, like to control them. You know what I'm saying? Like the V6, like we said, already comes with the off switch. It's manageable. Manageable meaning we can control it, right? Yep. V8 meaning, like I was saying, if you're in a V8 car, you ain't got that traction control on, you at the light, you smash that gas, you get squirrely. Especially if you rear wheel drive, you might, what I'm saying? You gonna have to flutter the gas. You just can't put your foot on the gas and just hold it to the floor. Yeah. You got to put your foot on the gas. That motherfucker breaks traction. Then you got to let up off the gas, right? So that means you got to control it to get the grip and then manage it. So when you're dealing with a dog that has that level of drive, you're gonna have to do some work to manage it, and the intensity of what it's driven for is going to increase. Like you're gonna see, okay, when it's on something, it's focused, it's gonna get it, it's gonna push to it, boom. But then you can reel it back. Once that dog understands that you're trying to reel it back, it comprehends quickly. Okay, it gets it. Like, okay, got it. Okay. So a dog that has that level of drive that can get out of control, but you can start to wheel it in and manage it still. Okay, still manageable, but couldn't get out of control. You know what I'm saying? Could have a one-track mind for what it's driven for. That's a V8. Okay. And that level of dog, to me, would be good for like sports, like Schutzen, any type of high level sport. You would want that dog to have V8 drive, right? Weight pool, right? A dog that is feeling resistance, right? But you gotta teach him how to manage that pool, because you don't want him to fucking get a hernia. You don't want him to pull his muscle out, So you want to encourage him to, work through that pool, and then, good boy, he works his way through the pool, and then, you got it, right? You can manage the drive before he get out of control. Okay. So that, to me, in my, reality of dealing with my dogs, that's a V8. What do you think, Reddy? Does that make a little sense? Or
yeah, it makes sense.
And that could be, like I said, any breed of dog. Okay.
I'll put some bulldogs in there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any
get out
breed.
of control, but to the point of exhaustion.
That's your 4-wheel drive dogs there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a dog that you got to manage. Okay, but manageable. Okay.
You that means be on that joint, though.
Yeah, that means that dog is going to go for what it wants, and it's going to go at a high level for what it wants. It's going to work hard, but then it's still manageable, even though, it can get out of control if you don't manage it.
Yeah.
Okay? That right there, those V8 dogs shouldn't go into your normal pet homes. They shouldn't go into your novice working dog homes. Okay. These are competition dogs for like sport dogs. Okay. Which is good enough nowadays. Like if you can produce dogs with that level of motor, and then you got some great training to go along with it, and you can throw maybe a supercharger on that V8, that's good enough. That's a good enough dog for you. Right? It's a good enough dog. That dog would do your Schutzen work, all the shit. You might win a couple trophies and shit, maybe a couple nationals, depending on your training. And that's a good dog. You know what I mean? And honestly, like that really is the bar, right? That's the bar. If you got a good performance dog program, that's the bar that you should be like reaching for, is V8. Okay, V6, cool, but that you ain't getting no accolades with a V6.
Mm.
But a V8 with some great training in the dog, you know, like I said, you'll win a couple little sporting events. I'm sure. You might win a championship with a V8 dog. I'm sure you will. Okay. Might be a great hunter, you know, great tracker, whatever it might be, you know. But, you know, I would say that's the bar, you know, V8 level drive. And if you have that, you know, you're accomplished, I would say. But now we get into the anomalies, you know, the few and far betweens. You know what I mean? Where you got V10s.
See, that's that. That's the Malinois energy right there.
That's the Malinois energy. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of there's a lot of dogs with
Wow.
that type of energy. You see what I'm saying?
Terriers.
Terriers. But see, what makes a dog to me V10? Remember, I was telling you about intensity of the drive. Like how focused are they for what they're driven for, and what will they do to get it? What will they do? And they say, like with those military type dogs, and you know, let's say some seasoned, real seasoned dogmen, like they want those V10s. They call them the hard, like the real hardened dogs. That you know, they're stubborn.
Yep.
They're hard to manage. Like you got to put traction control on a V10, right? Because
Well,
if you
what
step
they
on
want.
that gas at the light, so if you just press it a little bit, that motherfucker breaking traction without traction control.
Yep.
So you gotta have traction control on a V10 engine, right? You can finesse a V8, like I was telling you, it can get out of control. I can press the gas, break traction, but then let off the gas, finesse that pedal, and all of a sudden, oh shit. Then I catch the grip, and I'm back on the gas. V10, you ain't doing that shit. If you press the gas, you're gonna break traction off the top.
Hell yeah.
So that's one of them type of dogs that's already on it. It's on it and then it's going, and you got to put some real work in to handle that dog. Like it's gonna take you some time.
Early bird.
Oh yeah, early bird. When they born out the womb, you gonna have to deal with that shit. Like I'm dealing with, for example, like with Tiger Shark. Okay, you know, like that boy is something that you're not just out the box like, oh, I'm gonna just handle this dog like I handle all my other dogs. No, I know better than that. Because I dealt with all kind of dogs. So I know the difference. I know I gotta deal with that V10 or V12 a little differently, right? But see, us dogmen who like that type of drive, it's like a challenge. That's why a lot of dogmen who are seasoned, they like them dogs because it's a challenge to them, because they know that drive is something that they don't really see. Like I said, a dog will run through fire, a dog will crash through a fucking wall, the dog will do anything in its power to death to get to it. That's that ultimate drive.
That's how I feel about your man Shaka. That's how I used to feel about him. Like he's on that level.
Yeah. Yep.
He's breaking the bars with his teeth. Like, so what about I'm breaking my teeth? So
yeah,
as long as I'm breaking through this to get to what I need to get to.
correct.
That's the goal.
Correct.
I don't hear what you're saying. You can hit me with a broom. It don't matter. Shovel. I'm still gonna do it.
I'm still gonna do it. You're right. You know what I'm saying? You're right. Definitely a V10. You know what I'm saying? Definitely a V10. But one thing I would say about Shaka, that now that I'm, like I said, I'm category, like I put these categories up: V6, V8, V10s, V12s, and I'm judging the intensity. Like the intensity really gauges that level of motor to me. As I've learned intense dogs, what that truly means when you see it is like when I seen Shaka, his prey drive is V10, but at the same time, his intensity is like I give him like 50% intensity. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm.
he gonna do what he gotta do to get it, and he's gonna get it, right?
Yep.
However, like that like full on intent Bruce Lee type speed, that Bruce Lee type furious type of, you know, like if you see a dog get on another dog and then they, you know, they start shaking each other up, or they get on an animal, they start ravaging that motherfucker. Like when you see certain dogs intensity when they on something and then they bite some shit down with some crazy ass force.
Yeah.
And then not only when they bite something down, they're just thrashing that motherfucker like a great white shark be thrashing, you know.
Right.
Like when you start seeing that type of stuff and it's fast, you know, it's just real quick, like, and it's, you're like, damn,
Yeah.
that's that intensity and they drive, you know what I mean? So when I start seeing that, that's what started giving me the levels of okay, motor drives. Like, okay, if a dog, you know, because like I said, a V10 obviously is going to be faster than a V8,
Yeah.
right? They're both high performance motors.
And it's ready to crash.
Definitely going to crash out. We talking about dogs, right? They
Yep.
definitely going to crash out. You know, the military want the ones that's going to crash out, right? You know, police don't want V10s.
Nah.
Right? Because they're dealing with citizens
Liability.
and shit. Yeah, and liability. They don't want no lawsuits. So they you know they want the V8s and shit. You know what I'm saying? They want the V8s, and that's cool for the police because in reality they don't want to really get sued for them bites. And if they get a bite, they don't want no, you know what I'm saying? They don't want the thrashing going on. They don't want none of that shit.
Yep.
You know. However, the military, you know, shit, you know, we need you to fucking
They about the war.
yeah, they want you to go in there, you getting shot at, bombs is going off, motherfuckers hitting you, stabbing you. They want you, you know what I mean, hold the bite.
None of that. Yeah.
You know, they want you to fight the fight.
Yeah.
So V10s, very rare, very rare. They're very hardy, damn near uncontrollable when it comes to what they're driven for. Their workability is, you know, level 10, right? That means, you know, stupid horsepower. You know what I mean? Definitely could be all-wheel drive like the V8s. Could be rear-wheel drive. Definitely has to have traction control. What I mean by that, has to have a handler, a very seasoned handler, controlling that dog from birth until retirement.
Yep.
Okay. A lot of socializing. V8 too, but a lot of socializing when you're dealing with a V10 too and a V8, but V10, since we're talking about the V10 level dogs, okay? And the reason why I say that is because when you leave a dog to his own mental devices that's so driven for whatever it wants to be driven for, and you don't show it, you know, the off switch, that is going to be a dog that probably will be a one owner type dog, one handler type dog.
Yeah.
And if it don't like something or if it really wants something and that person that is handling that dog doesn't comprehend how to deal with it or tries to deal with that dog with a heavy hand, and that dog's like, motherfucker, you just turn me up. I like heavy handedness. You gonna, you know what I mean? Like some dogs want you to be heavy handed with them so they can fuck you up.
Yep.
So if you're not understanding the psyche of that animal from the beginning of it, like, oh, this is a V10. Okay, so now I already know the drive is on a level. I know the dog's already intense. Okay, I need to socialize this dog. I need to, you know, I need to nurture this dog. I need to love on this dog, you know, so that when I do see him turn on, I can turn him off.
Yep.
That's why the sports are so popular. The bite sports instead of actual protection. Because a good protection dog will not tolerate that shit. And that's the idea. You know, you don't want that dog to break. Like you said, when somebody starts whipping his ass or stabbing him, or if he gets shot,
You don't want them to stop that.
whatever. Yeah, you don't want him to
Stop
break.
biting. Yeah, his confidence and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I say
Not
those.
many.
Go ahead, K man.
Yeah. I'd say not many people really want a dog like that. They'd rather have a high drive, high prey drive, spunky dog that they can do sports with.
Yeah, a V8 level type dog is good enough for sports. You know, it's not a good home novice type dog. It's a great sport dog where it's got enough drive to where, like I said, you don't have to have traction control on it. You got a traction control, right? Which is you, the trainer. The traction control, what I'm saying to y'all, when I say traction control, that means you as the handler, the owner, the trainer. You the traction control. But but you don't necessarily need you to have that dog's comprehension to say, okay, you know, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, chill. Okay, sit. Okay, calm. Okay, off. You know, the shit that they do in sport. You know, it's a game to that dog. You know what I mean? So it can turn on and can show you a great, you know what I mean, great performance. But at the same time, it's like, okay, it's manageable. So it's not going to the extreme where it's like, wait a minute, oh shit, you know, this dog is biting me, but damn, this dog's biting me through the fucking suit. Or this dog is, like wants to, he wants to bite, but he ain't letting go.
And if I want to break into your house, all I got to do is bring a rag or a toy or a purse or something with me and let the dog chew on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
shit, like you said, that's a sport dog versus a real protection type dog. You know what I mean? And that's why we were talking about military level like type dogs. You know, when we talk about V10s and V12s, we're not even at the V12 yet, but V10s, right? That's a military level type dog. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, like, some of those Shetson dogs, when they put them in that lay down position, that sit down position, some of them still be barking. Like when they see the man, when they're in that position, they be barking rapidly. Some of them don't bark. Does that mean one wants it more?
But don't they be? I think a lot of them be telling them to do that barking shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I haven't really studied the shits and all that stuff. But I know a lot of times they be like hold and bark and shit. Like they do that type.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. Bark and hold. Yep.
Yeah, bark and hold. Yeah, they do that.
I mean, from like far away, like before they even attack the person, before they send them off, like when they first bring them in there.
Okay.
The handler brings the dog in. The dog might do like a circle around the handler, and then he put him in that heel position to sit, and then to lie down. And then some of them dogs, when they see the man, they got that urge to start barking at him, like, because they want to get him. Some of them don't do it.
Yeah. But see, I've had, like I said, I had a pit bull that I bred. Her name was Buffy, and we called her the silent assassin because she never barked, but she would kill any animal. She killing that shit. I don't care what it was, a bird, snake, roach, mice, horse.
She's different. She was different.
But no barking though. She wasn't no dog that's gonna bark and all that shit. That bitch is gonna hit. Soon she see something, not gonna say nothing out of her mouth. She ain't gonna growl. She going straight for that motherfucker, hitting that shit, tearing that shit apart until it's dead. You know what I'm saying? Like that's who she was. She is a V8. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the reason why I would classify that as a V8 motor is because in reality, I can control that shit. I can control her in that way to where as long as I had her in a position where I can, calm her down, then she would respect my she's gonna be on it, but she's gonna respect me over top of what she wants. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I leave her to her own devices,
that ain't shit.
Yeah, if I leave her to her own devices, ready, it's a wrap.
Right. Yeah, that's an 8. Yeah, that's an 8.
But for example, remember I always tell y'all about AK?
Yeah.
AK is a V12.
Boom.
Okay. AK is a dog that is a V12. Now, we talk about the V10, right? That means a dog that can handle pressure. That's when it's got his mind on whatever it's on, is damn near, if you ain't got the level of control as a dog handler or a dog man, that you ain't gonna be able to control that dog. That dog's gonna be too stubborn. It's gonna test you every time you correct it out of his drive. That dog is going to test you every time to see how strong are you to get me to shut off.
Right.
That means whatever it's looking for, it's gonna run through it regardless of the obstacle.
Yeah. It's a no stopping it.
No stopping it.
You
It's
try
going
to
for
stop it, it might eat you.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's definitely going to test you. Dog is going to test you. If you are that dog's off switch, if you are that dog's handler, you are that dog's alpha, that dog in his mind is more alpha than you until you prove to it that you alpha.
Right.
And it's normally a one handler dog, unless you got a group like the military, right? The military has a group of handlers that make sure that they deal with that dog, because what if that handler gets shot and killed?
Yep. You got
Then
the next one then.
yeah, somebody in the platoon got to take the dog on. So they're training with that level 10 dog, but you know, those are like few and far between. Those level 10 like dogs, those V10s, those are few and far between. Now let's move on to the V12, man. These are the freaks.
Kangle shit.
No. We're not gonna say breeds ready, because it could be any breed.
Nah, true.
Okay, so that's what I said. We can't really put them on a breed. We're gonna say it's a drive and it's an intensity, and not only is it an intensity and a drive, but handling. Think about, we're not talking about V12 Benzes and shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Luxury cars with the big motors and that shit. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about that. We talking about the Lamborghini V12. We talking about the Bugattis and shit. You know, we talking about Formula One race cars. Okay, where that car, let's say Formula One, right? That car has to have top tier computer, top tier coolant, lightweight but strong, great tires, great brakes. Like everything about that dog has to be, about that car has to be put intact. But then what's controlling that car is the engineers and the driver.
Yep, the driver. It needs
Okay?
a professional.
Yeah, you not getting in a V12 and punking that motherfucker if you're not a good driver. You're not doing it, bro. You're not gonna do it. And even those professional drivers, they gotta have traction control on them V12s. They're not driving them Formula One race cars without traction control.
Hell no.
Too much power. So when you have a dog, let's say my example will be AK, who is very calculated, focused, and intense on what he wants, and will go through anything to get it. Now, remember what I was telling y'all about breaking sticks? You know how they always, you have a breaking stick, you got a dog, and he gets locked on something, and you come with a breaking stick and you put that in that dog's mouth and you pry it and shit. You know what I'm saying? A V12 is you put something in that dog's mouth and you pry it and you break whatever you got, you breaking it. I got a metal break stick that I got from Ray Allen. Right? Ray Allen got all the apparel, all the shit, right, for the protection dog. I got a metal one.
Damn.
Metal one, right? It's almost like a switchblade knife. It come out like a switchblade, but it's metal.
Yeah.
Put it in that your dog's mouth, and then you twist it and pry it up. Because you put it up in his gums, it's supposed to pinch the dog's gums, right? Which when you pinch the dog's gums, the dog's supposed to release. They can't releasing that shit.
Want to do it more.
Yeah, he's not going to release it. He don't feel no pain. That's what I'm saying. When you dealing with dogs that like enjoy the fight, and pain is not even like, that doesn't hurt. That's like, you're doing something, your dogs like
dogs that'll kill porcupines.
Whatever. Like it does. The drive is so intoxicating to that dog that it's like having an orgasm to that dog is what he wants, and when he gets it is his orgasm. So he's like fuck it, I ain't letting go of this feeling. I love it, and the intensity of the drive, like the speed of it, is like whoa. You know, it's scary.
Cujo.
It's scary.
Rabies shit. That rabbit shit.
You have to be a very, very confident dog man, dog woman. You have to be very patient. You don't fight fire with fire, right? The dog is turned up to the 12, right? And you trying to go to 13. That shit don't work. You got to do reverse psychology with a dog with a motor like that. You know, like how I deal with AK is I kill him. I curb his energy with my calmness. Like there's no way I'm gonna do if I do the flirt pole with him, I'm never getting that shit out of his mouth. Once he got that flirt pole, I gotta put it down. There's no way I'm getting it. He ain't letting it go. There's nothing I can do unless I choke him out, but he's too strong. I'm not, man. It'll be two of us. I would need me, you ready, me, you, caveman. We got a double team a dog like AK. One man on a dog like AK is you're done. You're fucking done. There's
crazy.
You're not manhandling a dog with that level of fucking drive and strength and intensity. It's just it's like you fighting Bruce Lee with Mike Tyson power.
Shit.
Like that shit is fucking on a whole nother level. But the drive is just to the maximum.
Yeah.
It's overkill. It's like that's too much. Like that's too much. But see, there's certain dogs that, like we talk about special forces now, caveman.
And those dogs are the perfect outcross dog to me too. Some dogs that are really intense like that, because you can pick pretty much any breed or any dog that's got traits that you want, and he's going to throw that to his pups.
For sure.
With whatever you threw in the batter.
Yeah, in the mix. No, you're right, caveman. Like that's for sure. You know, and me experiencing that dog a level like that, right? For me to be able to classify him as a V12 and me understanding motors, right, from a car perspective, me understanding a dog's psyche, which is his mind, like what motivates it, and then me, let's say, figuring out his pacifier. Remember, I told you I figured out his pacifier. That's why he's a bone crusher. Okay?
Bone. Yeah.
Once I figured out that he liked them damn bones, and he got to always have something in his mouth, and I found out his little pacifier. That's why he don't tear shit up. Like a dog like him, he has to have something to get into. But for him, he got such a fixation with biting shit that bone is like, man, it's like a lollipop to that nigga.
Yo, I was gonna ask about them bones. Like, how many should I be giving my dog? Because he killing them joints. Like, I'll give him one, and then I turn around and it's gone. I'll be like, yo.
But see, there's a certain type of bone, and K-Man probably know this stuff too, right? There's a certain type of bone that you can get. Man, I wish I knew what kind of bone, because I've done given AK all kind of shit, the femur bones and all kind of different type of bones, right? But there's a certain bone, right, that is a lot harder, right? So it's gonna take a lot longer for let's say with AK, right? He'll annihilate a bone, period. But there's certain bones that it's gonna take him longer, and he'll just wear it all the way down until he finally just breaks it down. So he'll take a bone and he'll have that bone until he finally breaks it down. But there's a certain bone. I know it's probably a cow bone, but it's a certain bone that's it's like a really, really hard bone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
These femurs, do they have the knuckles on them?
Yeah, he tears them femurs up with the knuckles. He tears all that shit up.
No
Yeah,
shit.
but it's a bone, Cayman. It's like a bone that's hollow. It's like hollow in the middle. Of course, there's it's
The
not,
femur is hollow.
but it's not the femur because it's smaller, right? And it's got the marrow in there, but it's a harder bone. It's a harder concentrated bone where like the dog is gonna really have to have strong as fucking like jaws and really have to like keep biting it for a long period of time before they finally crack it. They'll eventually get to it, but it takes him longer to finesse it because what he want to do, he want to break all the bone to his, till it's shattered. So he'll keep working that shit. You know what I mean? It's not like, okay, he gets to a certain point of the bone, he finally breaks it. No, he's trying to crush them shits to the marrow. Like he like the marrow and shit. So he'll have a bone and he'll keep working it. But there's a certain bone. And once I see what it is, I'll show you guys the bone, man.
I'm looking at the one that I got.
You're not talking. I mean, the femur is the one that's in the round steak.
Femur, the stuffed hoof, the trachea, the rib bone, and the scapula.
Yeah, the scapula is solid bone, but it's thin. That might take a minute to chew up because of the shape of it. But
it might be.
Is it whole?
Femur.
The
I don't
scapula
know
whole.
So say it again, K-Man.
Is the scapula whole?
You're talking to Ready, right?
Is it just a piece one, or what is it?
Ready? Is the scapula you got whole, or is it a piece?
It's a whole piece.
Yeah, that's kind of. See, that's awkward, and it's solid bone. It doesn't have the marrow in it, so that.
Okay, K-Man, what's the hardest bone? K-Man, what's the hardest bone on a cow?
The what? The hardest?
The hardest, yeah. What's the hardest bone on a cow?
I'm not sure. I would have said the femur. The femur is pretty badass bone. I don't know if, I don't think the ones on the front shins, I don't think those are any thicker.
Okay, so then the femur one, that's not the one with the knuckles on it.
Yeah, femur has knuckles on it. Both that the femur is the top leg bone. It connects to the knee and the hip. Goes right through the round steak. Have you ever seen a round steak with that round? It's like a triangular shaped round hollow bone.
Okay, so then it must be the femur. So okay, K-Man. So okay, now you mentioned that it must be the femur, but how they come is they cut it. They cut.
Yeah. A lot of times they do. They cut them in 3 pieces, sell the femur and sell both knuckles.
Okay, there we go. So that's probably what it's. So it's probably the femur, because if you're saying that's the one with the hollowness and where you got the hollowness, and that's what it is.
Yeah, that one takes them like 2-3 days to bust that.
I wonder. Well, I'll have to look at the bones and the hocks and compare them.
Yeah, like this one, this bone is like, yeah, it's got the hollowness in it. It's like you can see the marrow in there. It's definitely.
Yeah. Another thing is the femur is a byproduct of the beef industry. You know what I mean? So they don't have to specially process it like they would the shin, the hocks. So.
Yeah, that bone right there, I can give to him, and like he'll be finessing that bitch until it's annihilated, and it takes him a while to finesse it all the way down the way he wanted, but he's not gonna stop. Like there's no bone that goes to waste with AK. Like I have a bone, the bones I give to the other dogs, they'll work it. They like to get all the little, how they cook the bone and shit.
Yeah,
so
that's how mine do. Yeah.
They'll get all that off of it, and after that, they done. You know what I'm saying? But AK, he want to just, he want to crack it. You know what I'm saying? He want to split the marrow out. So that's all he do. He got a bone in his mouth every time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You just got a beast, is all.
Yeah, no, he's a freak.
Yeah.
He's definitely a freak. And then the stamina, like we talked about earlier, the V6 Ready. Like
Yep.
the stamina, like the will to go is just out of this world. You know what I'm saying? Like a dog that can jump like he do, but like jump 30 times in a row nonstop.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me. Like, what the fuck? Are you sick? You know what I mean? Like, dude, you jumping 30 times in a row.
It's in them.
Like, what the heck is going on with you? But like you said, that is him. In his mind, whatever he want, he gonna do it recklessly at the detriment of his life. He's gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? You will not get nothing out of his mouth until he want to let it go. I'm not trying to go in his mouth and pick anything out of his mouth. I'm just not doing it. You know what I'm saying? You'll go in there like, hey, give me that, take, let go. You put your finger up in there and he do a rebite, your finger's getting chomped on. Because he not letting it go. You know what I'm saying? So, like what you said too, K-Man, if I can manufacture those motors, let's say V10s and V12s out of AK, and like I said, have the matching bitch to be able to complement that level of drive, but at the same time, what's so important when you have dogs like an AK is that you got to be able to manage that shit. And thank God I found what manages him, which is a bone. Because I don't have the time to feed his drive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
A dog like that, I have that. Remember, the spring pole I used to have that boy on?
Yeah.
If I have that spring pole out there, he'll stay on that bitch until he's dead.
That's crazy. But that's what they're supposed to do, though.
He needed to be at some club showing his shit off.
Man, he wouldn't be a good sport dog because he won't let go. he would not be that.
He'll be the one that after the event's over, he's still hanging.
Yeah, he's the one that, like, get the dog off of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get the dog off. That would be him. Like, you're disqualified, coach, because AK won't get off the fucking decoy.
Yeah, but there'd be a line at your car for straws.
Yeah.
Yep.
But okay, K-Man. Okay, so you say that, right? Until someone owns that level of dog, and let's say you wasn't able to find the pacifier, right? You wasn't able to find the neutral in the dog. That dog is uncontrollable. Like, that dog is unmanageable. When it's turned on, he's unmanageable. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't shut him off. You know what I'm saying? That right there, it sounds good to a person who like never seen it, maybe heard us talking about it. Oh, I want one like that. Then you get one like that, and that dog fucking runs amok over your ass. And then he's so strong and powerful and intense, you can't control him. Like, you're not shutting that dog off.
Pit bull and your girlfriend.
I've seen some dogs like that at some clubs, and that dog's they keep them constantly on the tether when they're working the decoys and shit. They don't turn them loose.
Because those are the ones that's on go all the time.
Sometimes two people handling them.
I was watching a podcast, right? And because I've been studying the military dogs and stuff. And one of the trainers was like, back in the day, they was looking for those V12s and shit. They wasn't calling them V12s, but the super, like the unmanageable dogs. Like, they wanted them for the military, right? And then it backfired on them because, like we said, they wanted them dogs, they get them, and then they get out there in the war zone, and once their drive is turned on, they hitting everybody. They hitting they hitting everybody. They hitting fucking the platoon members. Niggas is getting bit up and fucked up. Yep. They hitting the enemy. Like, they were saying, like, them dogs are so on go that, like I said, it was they're uncontrollable. Like,
anybody could get it.
They're biting the handlers. They biting everybody. Because they want them type of warrior dogs, right? They want them war dogs, but it's like, bro, be careful what you wish for, right? Because a war dog ain't taking no shit from you or the enemy. And if they can't get to the enemy and they want that, whatever they're looking for, they want it, but they can't get to it, their frustration gonna get turned on to, you know, the friendly fire type shit. And that's what they were saying. Like in the beginning, they was looking for them dogs, and then, you know, being at, you know, the war theater changed, and, you know, they had to make sure that the dogs can be handled by multiple different people, and they were going out as a squad, right? That the dogs can't be that hard. They can't have them that hard because they were having too many people getting fucked up by the dogs.
Yeah.
You know, and the dogs was fearless right there. Like I said, a dog like that, who's gonna stop them? You know what I mean? Like you come with a knife and stab them up, they still gonna bite the fuck out you.
Yep.
With a knife in their back.
Yep. Might take a couple bullets too.
Yeah, they'll take a couple. Bro, there's nothing stopping the dog until you kill it. You know what I'm saying? Like the dog ain't gonna, you know, and that's a very unique dog that can take pressure and pain. You know what I'm saying? Like the game pit bull, right? That was a dog that blew our minds when it came to them in the pit, taking that level of pain and still going back for the fight.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But when you're dealing with a man, though, we can inflict way more damage than a dog can on another dog, right? Because, you know, we got weapons and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely, if I'm in a war zone and I ain't got my gun, but I got my knife, I'm carving that motherfucking dog up.
Hell yeah.
But you know how a dog do? You put the pressure on certain dogs, they yipe and run and shit. As soon as they get that pressure, they yipe and run. But them V10s and V12s and war dogs, like what K-Man was talking about,
Pressure.
They take all that. So to me, K-Man, a V12 will never, to me, don't belong in the sporting ring because, you know, like, bro, that's too much dog. That's too. The dog is probably not going to want to do all that fucking bullshit and shit. Sit, stay, run, come here, all that fucking bullshit. That dog want to get to the action. Like you're teasing the dog when you're doing all that shit. Stop, don't bite, don't do this. Like what? You let me out my cage. I want to go buy some shit.
That shit gotta be in 2 cages and chain.
Its own separate club, huh?
It can't be in no club, man. Like
the band. I'm talking about a club full of beasts like that. Like that is the point.
It's got to be in the military, man. It's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be special forces, like, you know, special forces, like Ranger type shit, where, you know, you got a group of 6, maybe group of 8 men. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be handled by all of them. Okay, you got to take that dog as a puppy and freaking off switch it.
Yeah.
As a puppy, off switch it for the first year. Take that dog and just love on it. Have your kids with that motherfucker. You know, like really, like calm it down with the. It's okay to be calm. You're gonna know that dog is intense, just like I know. Okay, I know Tiger Shark possibly will be a V12. Okay, because he reminds me a lot of AK, but he's a lot younger. Doing what AK do now, he's doing that at fucking 5 months old. Okay, so that dog needs me to pay attention to his off switch and not be like, yeah, oh yeah, I got one. Let me turn him up now. Because once you turn him up now, when he gets older and stronger, bro, you ain't stopping that shit, bro.
Yeah,
you're not stopping it. That dog, there's nothing you can do to hurt that dog. You know what I mean? What you gonna shock it with the e-collar and shit? You know what I'm saying? You get you an e-collar, you keep shocking the fuck out of that. That's just gonna piss the dog off even more. No, he might comply, but in his mind, he's like, wait till you take this e-collar off.
Yep.
You know, especially when you got a thinking dog that's like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to respect you because, you know, a dog like that want to respect. All dogs want to respect this leader, right? So the dog is looking at you like, I want to respect you, but you got to earn my respect because I want to be respected as the alpha because I think I'm the alpha and I think I'm stronger than you. And you got to stop me from wanting to get what I want to get. And if you do something that is combative, that's what I like. I like combat. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to handle them dogs differently. And that's why I say with those V12, go ahead. Was you gonna say something, K-Man?
No, I think that was echo in your mic, actually.
Okay. But what I'm saying is like with the V12s, if I'm thinking of it like a Formula One race car, or let's say a high-end, exotic car, there's a lot of components to that computer to manage that motor.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of parts that go on to cool that motor so that it can perform at an optimum level. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain level of engineering that goes into that dog, and then there's a certain level of a mechanic that know how to work on that dog, or like I say, trainer or handler. You know what I mean? That knows how to tune that dog's mind in to where it's like, okay, cool, you're fast, cool, great. You're strong, great. You're driven beyond drive, great. I like that shit. Okay, you're tough, durable, all those things. You got stamina, you can breathe. On off switch we got to work with, because you ultimately you got overdrive, but it's manageable. But at the same time, you're gonna take it to the point of no return. That's why you want them. That's them V12s. The V10s and V12s gonna go to point of no return, man. They gonna, whatever you send them on, they know they might not come back, and they okay with that.
Yeah.
You send them in there to a perp, they're shooting guns, they're running straight at the gunfire. Pop, 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 they running at it. Fire, they jumping through the fire to get your ass.
Oh yeah.
That's the plot hound of the hound world.
You said that's
the bear bred. Yeah, the bear bred plots. Anyway, there's different versions of those too. You guys have seen that video of the dog hanging on the bear's ass where the bear runs up the tree?
Yeah.
That's a plot hound.
Okay. And of course, they got that courage to be hunting a fucking bear.
And that dog got.
Oh yeah, they get killed. Yeah, they go right in and get themselves killed. So do some of them lion hounds. They breed them to be gritty, and some of them are a little too gritty for their senses.
I've seen some of them climbing up the tree to get the.
Yep. Oh yeah, I've had some walkers that climb trees.
That joint's crazy, man.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. Okay, let's say we got a V10 level type driven dog, V12 level. Let's say we got these type freaks, V10s and V12s, right? What would you do to nurture that dog's mental space to where he can or she can use her brain? Not, let's say she's going to go or he's going to go into a place where, their life could be at danger, but to still get the task done. Like, how would you teach a dog that's so driven to the point where life doesn't matter to it to like be a thinking dog? Like, how would you take a dog that's so driven regardless it's gonna go right in danger, period? But like, is there a way to put like a real thinking type of dog, calculated dog? Like, is there a way to have a dog think like that has a V10, V12 engine? Or is it like impossible?
No, it's possible. You just gotta be on that dog's ass on that whole process. Like,
and some of the German Shepherd breeders be all over young Reddy. Yeah. There's a lot of German Shepherds that fit that description.
That's V12.
Yeah, they're pretty intense. And they just like any breed. I've had them. I've had Rottweilers and German Shepherds that come from working lions that were imported, but they were to the point of overdone, and like the one would even kill her own puppies. They're just too much defense drive.
Right.
They're just too hard, too crazy.
So
it's a balance. That's why I say outcross. That's why I say you take a good stable female that's, you know what I mean, controllable, human oriented, stable around people, take her out in public or whatever, and you mix her with that crazy dog like that, and you get them dogs you're talking about.
So okay, so then you would, so okay, is there a way to like teach a V10, V12 level intense driving dog to like like use his brain and slow down if necessary? You know,
Some
like
of them, yeah, they're born with the mental capacity to do that, but some of them you can't. No, they're just born with a drive.
the drive, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I think with
That
the majority
intense
of those
drive, yeah.
yeah, those
they,
V10s,
Overwhelmed.
V12s,
yeah, they're overdone. I want this dog to stick its nose to the ground and run this track until the end, no matter what. Well, you got to sacrifice some shit to have that. You know, even gameness, you got to sacrifice some things. There's certain things that a game dog is not really capable of doing.
right? You know what I mean? That's to me, that's a thinking dog. To really master, to have a dog like AK, for example, and to be able to, get him to like understand, like, hey, bro, I know you want that, and I know you got it, but now that you got it, you ain't gotta be possessed over it. You know what I'm saying? Like a dog with that level of drive, they're possessed, and there's nothing that will snap them out of it until they want to get off of it, right? Maybe they get tired of it, whatever it might be. Okay,
Yep.
oh, I'm bored. I'm bored
You,
now. I'm done.
yep, you said half the answer right there. The trick to dogs like that is to wear them out. And that's what I did with my hounds, keep them from barking. Cause I just run them at night, wear them out. They lay around all day. Well, with a dog like that, you take them out and burn up that um, energy, that he's got bubbling out of him. Get him mellowed out where he's got some composure, and then you start.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you might have to exercise him, just because of his environment. You might have to wear him out just so he don't react to shit or whatever.
Right.
You might have to, even if you nothing else, you got to get a fucking treadmill.
Because some of these dogs be so uncontrollable. If they can't get to you or the thing they want, they'll start harming themselves.
Yeah, let's start breaking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start tearing stuff up.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the only, I don't know, my solution to those dogs was get them out in the woods every night.
See, you're in an environment, caveman, where you can do certain
Do
things
it.
to kind of help, your dog kind of cope with whatever it's going through, whatever
Oh, yeah.
mental fucking focus is. You can, like you said, you can redirect or tire them out and stuff like that. I'm just wondering if us as dogmen who actually make dogs, like mentally, and you already answered it, okay, man. Honestly, you said take that V12 and then maybe breed it to a V8 that's mentally stable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
You
from
gotta
there,
take that shit down.
yeah, then maybe you'll
Yeah.
dumb down.
8 and 12 makes 20, and half of 20 is 10.
There we go. There you go. So
Yeah.
then we put that. So then we'll make a V10, right, with a fucking computer that's controllable. You know what I'm saying? We'll upgrade that mental capacity where it's like, okay, you know, it can comprehend more, and then it can process more, but still have the performance to do things at the maximum level of highness. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
And
And
there's the balancing act right there. That's what all breeders aspire to, is that balancing act.
but I mean, hey man, do they though? I don't know if they really do because
Well, okay, all dog men.
should
Yeah.
they
Should. Well, I mean, the real ones, I don't say that about, like, if you want to get on that topic of owners, breeders, and dogmen, you know, people that possess dogs or people that are actually dogmen. Yeah. Well, so when I say dog man, and I include females, you know what I mean? You brought yourself into this dog man world and want to be, one of the crowd, no matter race or gender or what, you're a dog man.
Right.
If you fit the criteria,
Yeah, I agree. And that is something that if we are into performance dogs and we're making them or breeding them, then yeah, we should be trying to create that balance. But see, that is a very hard thing to do. And like I said, a lot of us come from the game dog world or pit bull type performance dog world. And when you're dealing with dogs that are just fighting each other, a lot of them don't have to be smart. They just got to be reckless or strong enough to inflict enough damage to kill their opponent. Now, that to me, when you're breeding performance dogs, for one thing, I don't need that dog to have an off switch. Matter of fact, I probably don't want it to have an off switch. I probably want it to go until it blow up, until it doesn't, that's a little different. But like what we are talking about is a higher level of breeding, because now you have to do a compromise. Like we said, I got to take that V12 that is damn near unmanageable. It's pretty much uncontrollable, but I can control it to a degree, right? But I know, okay, this dog is not something that is not going to, like, I can't sell this to anybody but the military. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but if I want to, have that level and put it to a, kind of temper it a little bit, then I need to make sure that I breed it with the right female that mentally, maybe she's a V6, right? But in her background of her genetics, right? She got V8s and V10s maybe in her lineage, but she's a V6. But because of that temperament, we need that computer in that fucking V12 to make it a V10 that's controllable. Like a lot of people aren't willing to do that because you're going to sacrifice drive, right? You're going to sacrifice drive when you do that.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, I like the drive. Oh, I can't. I don't want to, But it's like, bro, when you can't manage that shit, then what's it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Basically, yeah.
And even for me, like with my pit bull program, now, and I'm grateful that in my mind I reconcile with the fact that I'm done with my pit bull program, because my dogs will never be in the pit. My dogs will never be able to show me maximum prey drive because I'm not a hunter with them. I'm not going to go out there with pigs and shit like that. I'm not out there hunting. So it's like, why am I putting all these fucking motors in these dogs when they will never be able to use it? They will never be able to enjoy their prey drive. Me having Shaka and him going out on my yard looking for prey.
Yeah,
He's looking for it.
Basically.
That's what he wants. He want to hunt, but I'm not in the area where I'm hunting. So it's like, why am I putting that type of genetics together in my dogs? Why is my breeding program for my pit bulls bigger, stronger, and faster when they will never get to enjoy what I put in them?
Right. Yeah, it don't make sense
at all. Like, for what? You know what I'm saying? So to wall climb? Really?
Yeah,
you think my boy really want to wall climb? No, he ain't wall climbing shit.
They want to sink their teeth in this shit and shake.
Yeah, he want to shake. He want to hear blood. He want to hear squealing. He want blood. He want all the
bones
shit.
Breaking, all that shit.
He want to fight. So it's like, when you understand that part of your dog, and in that part of your genetics, and then like you find your why, and like, well, shit. I mean, bro, those days are done. You know what I'm saying? We in the 80s and the 90s and shit no more, man. I mean, coach, what am I doing that for? Well, I just want to say I did it. Well, nah, I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm real cool with that. And so in reality, your sporting dogs, V8s is good. You know what I mean? And it's not even easy to get a nice little V8 that's manageable. So that's still a task for us who breed performance dogs. Okay. is V8 engines type dogs. But if you're trying to reach a higher level like me, I want V10s and V12s with computer systems and, you know, traction controls and, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to, you know, have them level of drives, but at the same time, have that balance in them too. You know, like to be able to say, okay, you know, V12 off. And that V12 listens to me and like, okay, off. Which is like, you know, that's wishing upon a star, right, K man? Now, honestly, like to me as a dog man that cook up dogs, to have a V12 you can control that's wishful thinking. First of all, it's probably few and far between you ever get a V12 in your life.
Yep.
Stay out there.
Yeah, I like a little more composed dog. I like to I sacrifice some drive for some intelligence and some nerve, because you don't have to. I mean, just like anything, you don't have to be like crazy, anxious to fight to stay in the fight.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to have that craziness to have a
Yeah.
dog that won't quit on you.
Yeah, you don't have to be reckless, you know, and,
Right.
and a V12 is reckless to their own detriment for what they want. Like I said, they'll lay it down for it. You know what I mean? It's like nothing's gonna stop it mentally for what it's driven for. And that only plays well, you know, if that dog is a damn war dog. If that dog's a war dog, then okay, cool, because it's going in a fight. It's gonna be in a fight. Something is gonna kill it. It's gonna contain something.
That's like
You know what I mean?
wolves.
But see, wolves. Okay, so hold on. But wolves they're thinkers.
Yeah, they are. But
They-
they can be all of those drives too.
I don't necessarily.
They'll cur. Wolves
Go-
cur out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't see a wolf as a V12. I see a wolf as V8 because they're thinkers too. So
Yeah.
if they feel like they're gonna get beat, they're gonna fucking run. The motherfuckers ain't gonna be over there fucking we're gonna fight you guys till we're dead. Like, no, them motherfuckers wait their turn. They're gonna jump you. You know what I mean? They'll run away. You know,
Then
V10.
there's exceptions.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you wouldn't be able to survive being a V12 wolf. You'd be dead. What?
Some wolves get killed in fights, but it ain't because they didn't want to escape. It's because they couldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's built right in them that they'll stay there, you know, and fight for whatever they want, territory or whatever, food. But it doesn't make sense to fight until you're dead, because you can't eat no more and you can't breed no more. You can't spread your genetics to the next generation if you're dead.
Right. And all prey animals do that shit. Lions, all of them do. You know what I'm saying? They'll fight, but when they know their ass is beat, they're gonna retreat.
Yeah.
And like I said, them dogs that we talk about, the V12s and shit, V10s, they're going into that motherfucker knowing, like I said, you can stab it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? They gonna die. It is what it is. Shoot it. Motherfucker, you shoot that dog, it won't even make no noise and shit. The motherfucker just be dead. You're like, damn, what the?
Well, yeah, part of training an animal like that is simulating that shit, so the dog doesn't even really know what's happening either. Besides I'm sure they might feel a little pain, but adrenaline takes care of most of that.
Like you said, K man, the adrenaline takes care of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I've seen it with my own dogs.
Oh yeah, pit bulls for sure.
Where they don't feel no pain and stuff. It's like, bro, like what the? You don't feel that? Like really? You just see that? Like what the heck? So same thing with those type of war dogs. They simulate all that stuff, the sounds, the fight, etc. Right? Of course, they're not going to stab them, but they're putting some real pressure on them dogs. You know, that stuff that we don't see, because if the public see that shit, you're gonna have all the fur moms and fur daddies over there. Oh my god, that's animal cruelty. No, this is soldier shit. motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, you serious?
Save the lives, man.
Yeah, like this is soldier shit. You talk about some animal cruelty. These is animals, man. What are you talking about? But at the same time, you know, the dog got to have the nerves and the pain tolerance to be able to be qualified to be them level of dogs, because they're not sport dogs. At the end of the day, they're not playing a game. At the end of the day, no, you really want to bite some shit and subdue some shit. Like like them dogs really want to kill your ass. That's what they want in the military. Like, but like I was saying when I was watching them podcasts, the military, dog trainers and military guys who was looking for those dogs, that was a two-edged sword for them. Because like I said, they wanted them dogs, they needed them dogs, but them dogs was out of control in the field. They were so hard that they was biting them too.
Yeah.
So they had to even tone them motherfuckers down. Because it's like certain platoons could handle that shit, But they were saying like, the special forces, they want them fucking V10s and V12s because it's a different level of battle. Like they really using them dogs as like human shields, though. That's what they use them dogs for. Dogs go in first, get shot. Now you know where the enemy is, then you go and kill the enemy. That's what they was using them dogs for. Dogs go in, smell for them IEDs. You know what I'm saying? Dog go over there, sniff it out. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the dog fucking tripped one of the motherfucker. Dog blow up, boom! Oh shit, that saved my soldiers and shit. That's what they was using the military dogs for.
Yep.
No talk. But you can't have no pussy dog in the military doing that shit. Because then now you at risk. Your platoon's at risk. Because your dog won't go in there and take the first shot. But that dog gotta have something in his mind. Like like I said, there's nothing that can control its drive. It's gotta be so driven that it'll drive itself to the end. It's gotta have a nerve.
And they gotta love to do it.
Oh yeah, sure. They gotta love to do it. Real warrior. I mean, same thing. If we're military men, right, and we want to be special forces. We know we going front line into the thick of the shit. Now we're not gonna be the infantry, but we going into the special. You know what I'm saying? We going into the shit where we might not come out. We doing all those top secret missions and shit.
This ain't no pet dog where you could pet it and shit.
Definitely ain't no pet dog. You ain't having that dog in your house.
That reminds me of the Rottweiler video, spitting out the fingers.
What is it? What video is that?
There's a video of a Rottweiler on the other side of it's like a walkway with a bar type fence or something in between. And this person sticks their hand over and pats the Rottweiler on top of the head. And this motherfucker takes two of his fingers off. They pull their hand back and the Rottweiler spits the fingers back out.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Good Lord. Man, dude. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's dangerous, man.
Yep.
That's stupid is what stupid.
But then it turns into your fault somehow.
Oh yeah, you definitely getting sued for that shit for sure. You know what I'm saying? That wins some money too, even though it's their fault. You know what I'm saying? Well, your dog shouldn't have bit him and bit his fingers off. Like, damn, but the person pet my dog. Well, you didn't have a, beware of dog, do not pet dog sign on there. Like, so it's like, man.
Oh, they demonized those dogs a long time ago.
What, the Rock?
Well, any dog that would protect, like guardian dogs, watch dogs.
They're all those dogs in like devil movies and demon movies.
Yep, they tamed the dogs down like back in the 80s.
But hey, you know what? When it comes to we talk about dumb dogs. I told you guys that's the main thing that I do not like about dogs is dumb dogs, right?
Yeah.
So same thing, right? Let's say you got an alpha wolf or alpha lion, whatever, or even us as alphas, right? Even you as a military top tier level unit, if we're getting overran, guess what our brass, the top brass is gonna tell us? They're gonna tell us to retreat, regroup. Okay, so a lot of times we hear the cur stuff, like my man Dylan was talking about, that cur, and of course, that's a negative thing when he talks about bulldogging and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
However, if we're talking about survival, okay, I don't care how tough we are, right? Unless we on a kamikaze, unless that's coming from the top brass or us in the group, right, of top tier soldiers, we like, okay, this is it. We not coming out. That means we either leaving victorious or we leaving in a body bag. If that's something that we're gonna agree to because this is it, no retreat, no surrender type of shit, then we go in knowing that. But at the same time, if we know that we come in a mission and we're going in and we're let's say we're the we got an edge, but then all of a sudden we overpowered. If we don't retreat, then what good are we dead?
That's a fact.
That's what I mean. Like we gotta, and I'm not saying that you say anything negative, Dylan. I'm just talking about that retreat, that cur type of connotation that people use on dogs. It's like, wait a minute, if a dog is not in a position to win, let's say he fight the good fight. And shit, he like, well, shit, this motherfucker overpower me. And if the dog that's fighting him is gonna let him go, man, go run off, heal your wounds. You try to fight. Who wasn't victorious? You take your elbow. Maybe you come back and get him next time because rarely. First of all, with mankind, like it's rarely that anyone goes undefeated. It's rare, right? The best fighters rarely go undefeated. Okay, there are some that do. It's an anomaly. But when you out there in the wild, and like K-Man was saying, you got to reproduce. You got to, you don't want to be too beat up because then you won't be able to hunt and eat. You got to, you got to pick your battles wisely. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you see that a lot of times. Yeah, that's why you see that a lot of times in the wild, right? They'll fight, the males will fight, and they'll have a stalemate. And as long as that male retreats, you know what I mean? They ain't gonna keep running after it until they try to kill it. Retreat is cool because that other male's like, cool, you retreat. I don't want to get fucked up no more either.
Yeah.
So even in our dogs, a thinking dog is way more valuable to me than a crash dummy dog. Like if I can make me a V10 and V12 that can stalk versus just run into some shit and go get it, but can stalk, like really pay attention to what he do and like really try to ambush and kill. Because see, that's what makes top predators what they are. They ambush shit.
Thinking.
They creep on you so that you don't know they're coming. By the time you know they're coming, they got you. They got the advantage because they want to survive. Now, we creating these dogs that got this drive that can kill, right? Like a top tier predator, but we haven't been able to put the computer in them V12s and V10s that can say, you know what, self-preservation, calculate, be strategic about your hunt, then kill and use your fucking drive to overpower. That part of a dog is something that hasn't been created yet. Like a wolf.
Like a wolf word.
So K-Man, do you think those guys out there, I don't know, you was talking about those German Shepherds that they was mixing those wolves in. Were they getting that type of result out of those German Shepherds with those wolves in there? Where they was like kind of like more thinking type, stalking type killers?
Yeah, they wanted the intelligence and the power and that, but they had to overcome the shyness of humans, and they had to cull most of them, then breed generations down.
So that definitely will take a lot of time.
But sure. It worked. I mean, it worked. They did it.
Because that would be interesting. That is something that I'm interested in trying to like create. If I can get a V10 that is a stalker, a thinking dog. You know what I'm saying? Like it knows, okay, that right there, that enemy can kill me. I don't want to die, but I like to kill. So let me get that enemy by surprise.
Put one of them
Versus
Rhinos in there.
versus just running into the building, just just running into danger type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now that will take a while. Like that's going to take some mixing of dogs, and that's what I'm hoping to see if I throw the Kangal into my mix of my bull herder, because like I said, they're not stalking. They're not stalkers. They're waiting around, they'll be camouflaged and shit, laid down in the cuts. Then they see something and then they'll give a warning and shit before they get it, before it's time to attack type stuff. But they not out there just stalking and running into shit. They more or less like, oh, you just came up there. Oh shit, there's some wolves coming around. Let me go over there and let the wolf know I'm here. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if they're I don't know if they're hunters like that. You know what I'm saying? But who knows? But that'd be interesting if I could do that. If I could put a fucking stalker brain into a V12 dog.
Get those traits.
That'll be interesting.
See, it's hounds that got those stalker traits.
You need a breeder to a border collie.
That too. Boy,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Yeah.
That's herders though.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that border collie though, because that's how they be doing with the cows and shit.
Yeah.
They're very patient, but see, they're not killers though. That's the thing. So like that's the song.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I mean, that's where the selection, you got to select what you want from each one. That Kangal's a killer.
But I don't think it's a stalker.
No, but the border collie is.
Border collie is. Yeah.
Yeah, those are two different genes we're talking about. So you need to take the pups that got the genes that you want from the Kangal and the pups that have the genes you want from the border collie.
Yeah, that
or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, they're all going to come out different.
Yeah, and even if you find that blend between the two, but let's say you bred the border collie with the Kangal, you find that blend that's got the killer with the stalking, mentality. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't guarantee that when you breed that to your other sauce that you're gonna get that. You know what I'm saying? Like that dog just might have that type of blender, but like you would have to like compound like the formula that I have for my bull herders, for example. I've been working on my bull herder program, right? And so how I was going to do it, like I was telling y'all last week, is take, let's say, AK, for example, to Coco, and then those puppies, keep them in my stable, right? And then all those puppies, pair them up accordingly to where genetically I can see that I can compound what I see genetically from those puppies, but do brother and sister breedings, right? But they're strategic. It's certain brothers or certain sisters because it's a genetic variant. Every one of them is going to be different, right? Yeah. So that I compound it based off of what I see with those brothers and sisters. Then those have offspring, and I'll do the same thing with those, and then like compound those genetics to where, okay, once I get them like compounded, then I could take that sauce and maybe throw that into something else. And I know that, okay, them genetics should be concentrated enough to where I should be able to receive that out of whatever I cross it to. You know what I'm saying? But it's still a theory, right? Because it's not guaranteed that you will get those genetic traits of a killer and a stalker in the offspring.
I'll give you a dog that's a killer that you could throw in there, an Australian Kelpie. That dog's a killer because it has dingo in it.
Is it a stalker?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. I want a stalker.
Dingoes got to stalk the kangaroos.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And the sheep herder, the sheep guys, they bred those dogs. They bred those dingoes with whatever dogs they had over there, and made this dog called the Australian Kelpie. So it has those herding traits. But a lot of them used to eat the chickens on the farm, so they had to do a lot of culling, and they would go feral. A lot of them.
Huh. Huh.
And that's a real high energy dog. They jump on top of the cow.
So you see how we talking about these dogs and see how we thinking outside the box to create a circle. Like this is, of course, what we're talking about will take some time. You know what I'm saying? Like the concept is like what a stalking ass V12, a thinking V12. That's really what it is. You know, like putting a lion brain into a damn dog. The ultimate predator, the king of all beasts, but having a dog with that level of intensity and strength and drive, like, bro, that right there would be. I think it's probably Mission Impossible.
I don't know. They're doing stuff like that.
I think it could be
It's coming.
You would definitely have to have a multi-million-dollar program. Like you would definitely. I know the military is probably working on it. I know that's for sure. But they're probably not even thinking like what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like they just probably want a dog just to be manageable, but they're probably not even thinking what we're talking. Like we're taking it to a whole nother level with the thought process of, a dog that can be, a predator, but be effective in its kills. You know what I'm saying? Like, will be able to come out, like how we are. Like, we're soldiers in the field. We don't want to die. So we're gonna make sure that we have a strategy to go in to kill the enemy versus a dog that goes in there and says, "Oh, bite. That's the enemy. You want me to bite him? I'm gonna bite him. I'm gonna run face at him head first, get the bite. But you're running in straight into gunfire. Pop, 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 pop. You're dead.
They gotta be manageable.
The dog should comprehend gunfire could kill me. Or that guy got a weapon in his hand. So I see the weapon, I see the weapon in his hand, and I don't want to get stabbed by it. So I need to stalk it. I need to stalk him. I need to catch him by surprise.
Right. That's like a cat.
Yeah, like a cat. Exactly. Like a lion, cat, wolves. You know what I mean?
As soon as you lower that gun, I'm on your ass.
Yep. As soon as you're not even gonna know I'm on you. Like, matter of fact, I'm just gonna creep on your ass. You're not gonna hear me bark. You're not gonna hear me in the bushes running and shit. You're gonna be chilling. I smell you. I know you there, and I'm gonna creep on your ass because I don't want to get killed, and I'm gonna fuck you up once I get you. And then once I get you, I'm gonna, you know how dogs do. Shit, dog gonna go for your motherfucking neck.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna be out of here. You won't be grabbing no gun when a dog's on your neck. You're gonna be grabbing that dog to get him off your neck.
Yep.
Hey, K-Man, I wonder if they got some fucking dogs that they train like that. I'm sure they got them overseas like that.
Dobermans are kind of what you're describing.
Masters do that.
Who do that? I'm talking about military dogs.
Yeah, Dobermans. Yeah. Those are. I'm telling you, man, the Dobermans and the German Shepherds used to be just amazing animals. They used to. I mean, they would climb ladders and tight ropes and ride bikes and do all kinds of tricks and all obstacles and just amazing shit.
The same thing the Malinois doing today. Yeah, I remember those times. But that was the official German Shepherds, not these roachbacks, not the roachbacks.
Right, yeah, right. That's what I said back in the 80s. I don't know exactly when it happened, but I noticed that there were still good dogs around in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And then something changed. And by the 90s, boy, it was way different. And it's been ever since.
Frog.
They got soft because they became pets versus, you know, dogs that had a job. You know what I'm saying? Like they became pets. And then another thing too, like with these breeders, they breed like they so get caught up in they families of dogs and they traits that they, you know, they don't really respect the vigor part of their whole program and shit. And a lot of that stuff gets watered down over time because, you know, so you keep fucking line breeding, inbreeding and shit, you start losing. You don't be gaining shit because there's no vigor in your program and shit. Yep. And a lot of them be stuck on that stuff. You know what I mean? Like they be stuck on their family so bad that it'd be at the detriment of the dog, you know, versus like, you know, hey, you know, get creative in your program, you know, like add some different spices. Yeah, like add some different genetics to your shit. Yeah, you might have to tighten it up, but you know what? That's gonna keep your shit, you know, that's gonna revitalize your program even more by doing that. And you know, when somebody corners the market, you know, they don't want nobody to get their shit, they get their blood. I'm not mixing my shit with yours and shit like that. Well, then you fuck up your program at the end of the day.
Yep.
You know, like, so I know a lot of times that happens where it's like, you know, old guys who don't want to learn new tricks, you know, they might have the best dogs at one point, and then, you know, they start to get kennel blind and shit. It's like, oh, this bloodline I've had for fucking 30 years. Well, motherfucker. You know, like you don't think it's time to, you know, throw some spice up in your shit?
Or
but if your dogs, right? Let's say you got dogs that's only doing one thing. Let's say you got just police dogs and shit, right? And you know, you just need that dog to, you know, sit, stay, you know, sniff some drugs, whatever it might be, or go be a patrol dog, but you really don't want them to bite. You just want them to scare some shit. You know, you can get away with a dog that just does the basics and it's cool. But when you need that dog to really go after a perp, you know, how many times have we seen those videos on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram where them dogs be out there? They send a dog out for the perp and the dog don't even go after the perp.
It go after the cop, the trainer, the handler.
Yeah, or it don't even go after nothing. It's not biting shit. Like, what the fuck? You sent the dog to bite the perp, but they don't even do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see the sport video where the decoy saved the judge at the last second?
Nah, hell no.
Nah.
Yeah, they turned this dog loose, and the dog totally ignored the decoy with the sleeve on and went for the fucking judge with the clipboard in her hand.
Oh, man.
The decoy seen it, and he went running across the field, and he jumped in front of the dog, put the sleeve in the dog's mouth. I mean, I can't remember if I don't think he bumped into her. But the dog was right there, ready to make us jump. Well, it did jump. It did jump. He caught the dog in midair with that sleeve.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow. See? That's that.
See?
Woo. That's too much. That's too dangerous.
Hard with her that day.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't really like that shit because when I see that dog do all that amazing shit and he grabs that sleeve, pulls it off the agitator's arm, and just leaves the guy standing there and runs off with the fucking sleeve like a toy.
Well, that's why I say, okay, that's why we just talked about the different motors, right, K-Man? That's why we would say V8, that's a sport dog, okay? That's, you know, we only want the dog to do the sport, show us that it can do something, but in reality, that's not really a dog that I'm going to be putting out there to really do live bites, and that's really going to really, you know, subdue a perp. Like, that dog want to play a game. He's good at his game. You know, he's good with being told no.
That's a plague dog.
Yeah, you know, here's this ball because you did well. Like, you know, like we said, there's levels to a real protection dog and a sport dog. Like a protection dog gonna fucking subdue you anyway. Form, you know, like it'll bite you in the face, it'll bite you in the arm. You know, like it'll bite you wherever. Like,
yeah, I don't want a dog playing a game. I want a dog that comprehends the situation.
think about those dogs that be getting killed in action with like the police dogs that be getting killed. You know, you bite, you know, the dog bites you in the leg or the dog bites you in the arm, right? And of course, you're gonna fight the dog, man. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna fight the dog. Maybe you got a rock or like I said, a knife, or you got a gun. So that dog bites you in the arm and shit like that, you're gonna shoot it and stab it. That dog is off.
Yep.
It's done. Okay. Now let that dog jump at your face and see what happens. You ain't gonna be grabbing no gun. You be trying to get the dog off your face.
Yep.
But if they teaching the dog to bite you in the arm and in the leg and shit like that, the dog bites me in the leg, I'm fighting the dog. I'm gonna grab the dog by its neck. I'm gonna hold it down. If I got a weapon, I'm gonna stab it, beat it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, the sport is for the sport. You know what I mean? To me, right? It's for the sport. But if I want a dog that's really going to go at, you know, subdue somebody, like I'm teaching it to bite wherever it feels it need to bite.
Yep.
You know, matter of fact, if it's a war dog, hey, caveman, ready? If it's a war dog, chat, if it's a war dog, I'm telling that motherfucker go for the face and the neck. Straight up. Because you ain't got no time to grab no gun then. You try to defend your fucking life then. You grabbing the dog. You ain't no weapon. Where we get my knife? No, you know, you're probably screaming and hollering because you get bit in the face. You ain't got time to, you know, grab no weapon. You fighting, you know, trying to pull the dog off you by that time. But get a bite to the neck and watch what happens. You dead. It's a wrap.
Hit that vital organ, it's over.
Yeah, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? But deep, that's all, folks. So, you know, when it comes to these motors, the drives of the dogs, you know, you over time, when you deal with enough of them, you'll be able to classify them. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been able to do with the dogs that I've had in my life over time, and dealing with different levels of drive and what motivates dogs. And then what I would say intensity really projects to me the volume of the motor. Like how intense that dog is for the drive. You know, how hard is it for you to control that dog when it's in drive? You know what I'm saying? Will that dog go to the point of no return when it's in drive? You know, that justifies the levels of working dogs' drives. So again, V6s is for your novice working dog men and women, right? You guys like dogs, you like them to play fetch and shit. Maybe you want them to do a job, whatever. They do it cool and they're controllable, manageable, they're easygoing. That's a V6. That is perfect for the novice working dog man or dog woman, right? The V8s now, okay? The V8s is a higher level performance dog. Okay, something that takes a level of control, however, is still manageable, but it still takes a good handler to handle that dog. Okay,
yep.
A lot more intense than the V6. Something that could be a competitive dog, whether you're doing Schutzen, whether you're doing weight pool, whether you're doing, you know, any type of sport where that drive needs to be shown at a high level, then V8s are perfect. Okay. And it's not easy to have a V8, but it's normal to have a V8 if you got a high drive dog. Okay. So V8s is, you know, those are common. Okay. Those aren't like anomalies. Now we get to those V10s. Okay. Fewer level. Those dogs are really intense. Okay. Takes a high level of competency, high level of understanding, high level of control, high level of dominance when it comes to managing that dog. You as a handler, owner, has to have all that, all the above to handle that V10 because it needs control. Period. Okay. Now, V12 freaks, you probably will never have one. Maybe you do. Most of you guys will never witness one. But when you see one, you'll know it because those dogs will intimidate you. Those dogs will make you understand that I got to deal with this dog differently. Because if I fight fire with fire, then it could be my ass.
Right.
And you never want that when you're dealing with a V12. Okay. You want the dog to respect you, but you don't want to fight. You don't want to fight it out of him. You're not going to fight that dog and win. You're not. Because that dog might submit at that moment, but as soon as it gets its chance, it's going to test you again. And then you might not be lucky when it does test you. Because those dogs want to fight. They want to fight. So you have to be very competent. You got to be, very calm but assertive. That's what Caesar used to say. Remember Caesar Milan? Calm but assertive.
Yeah.
With a V12, you gotta be calm in your energy but assertive. Okay.
Yep.
You gotta be calm but assertive. And you gotta do a lot of reps. And like I was saying, my advice to you guys in any of your high drive dogs, right? Any of your high drive dogs, you guys should take that first year of its life as a puppy and just love on it. Okay. You do your basic obedience, but a lot of those dogs like that, those V12s, they so antsy and shit, that sitting and all that shit, they're not really trying to play that game. Like they want to get at it, whatever it is. So socializing them, getting them on a leash, taking them out, like Caveman said, working them as far as like, working their energy. You know what I'm saying? Like taking them out, if you got like the right, you got a bike and shit, bicycle, taking them out, do a nice little, bike ride with the dog so it can kind of, calm itself down. But really for those V10s and V12s, you guys need to teach them dogs off. Like calm, chill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you've got little puppies and shit, you see the drive, you take that ball, whatever it might be, bike toy, whatever it is that they like really want and they like gotta have it, and then you work on taking it out of their mouth. Taking it out of their mouth.
Yeah, that's key.
Taking it out of their mouth. Give me that. Give me that. Let them have it. Take it out of their mouth. Keep doing that shit. Because see, that's what I should have did with AK, but that was my first V12. I never did that with him. I just, let him have his little bike thing that he liked, and then his bones and shit. But I never was like, when he was young and manageable, like, give me that bone out your mouth, motherfucker. Give me that, because I can manage him then, right? He's smaller. I can manage him. I can, like I'm doing with Tiger Shark. I can manage him. So do that so that dog can say, okay, off, right? Off. Okay, it's off. Okay, off, but I'm going to get it. See, so one thing about the dog's mind, if you could teach it that it can get it, it'll be okay. It will comprehend that it's okay to give it to you. If it knows that you're going to give it back. But if it becomes possessive early, then you're never getting it back. So it's just not going to happen. Once they get strong enough to say, you take it from me. You know what I mean? Like, take it out of my mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, I can't take it out of your mouth because you're not going to let it go. And I'm not going to put my hands in your mouth because.
So what level is on Black Hawk?
Black Hawk is probably a V10. Because he's the same way with his ball. But I figured out a way to, like, like what I was telling you, I've been dealing with him in a way where, I've been trying to get the ball out of his mouth at a younger age. Mm-hmm. So he'll kind of let me get it out, but he still won't let go of the damn ball. But like now, I go over there and I try to pull it out of his mouth, and I can feel him like loosening his jaws up, and he'll like let me kind of like almost get out of his mouth, but he still won't let me get out of his mouth. But that's better than what I can do with AK. I can't do none of that with AK.
Shit.
None. Like there's
Somebody
nothing.
needs to make a crush proof remote control car, remote control ball, and chase it around.
But the problem that I have with those dogs, like let's say with Black Hawk, for example, right? His pacifier is a ball, is a Kong. He's so fixated with the Kong that he just wants some, it's like his dad. He got to have something in his mouth. It's like his pacifier. So he don't want to let it go because he likes it in his mouth. He likes to bite shit too. So I've been working with him to allow me to put my hand in his mouth. And then, like, you know, with the calm energy, I've been using my calm. I don't pull it out because if I use force, he's thinking it's fight drive. He's not going to let it out of his mouth. But if I put my hand in his mouth where the ball is, he'll let me do that. AK won't even let me do that. But Black Hawk will let me do that. And then I'll just keep my energy calm. And then I'll be like, kind of like pull on it just slowly. And then he'll like loosen his jaws up. And then when he feels like I'm about to take it, then he'll clamp on that shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like in his mind, he's understanding like, okay. But in his mind also, he's saying like, he won't give it. What if he wants to give it back to me? So I'm still trying to get him to comprehend like, I'm going to give it back. Just let it go. But he ain't figured that one out yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now what I'm doing with Tiger Shark is now that he's like 5 months and he's doing that shit, I can force it out of his mouth. I can put my fingers in his mouth and pry it open and pull the ball out.
Right.
Right? Because he's not that strong yet at 5 months.
Yeah.
So I can finesse it, but then I know he wants it and I'll give it back to him. So I keep doing that. So I'm so that he understands, like, if I grab the ball, like, give it to me, he's like, okay, I'll give it to him, and he's gonna give it back. So I'm fine with letting it go. But I gotta start that shit early, bird.
Yeah. Yep.
As a puppy, and that's why I was saying to y'all with y'all high drive dogs, nurture that motherfucker first, man. Don't be just so enthusiastic to get that dog on that rah shit, instigate, agitate. Nah, man. Use reverse energy to calm it first. Like, calm your dogs with that drive first. Let that dog understand it's okay to be calm. Like, it's okay not to be driven. I know you're driven, but it's okay not to. I know you want to bite, but it's okay not to bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know? Especially when you're trying to carry your dead coon or your dead pig to the truck.
And they want to be on it. They want to bite that.
Oh,
yeah. It's like a car, you know, like real shit. It's like a car. If we got that motor, but it don't have a good computer system to control it and manage it, then what good is that motor? Like, these engineers think about this shit. You know, you want more power, but we got to figure out how to manage that power to get the best out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's when they put computers and shit and all the different gadgets in these cars to manage that horsepower. We got to do that with our dogs. We have to do it as handlers and as dogmen. We have to do it. But it starts when they puppies where you can manage it. That's why I was just giving an example with Tiger Shark. He's small enough to where I can overpower him and take the ball out of his fucking mouth.
No.
And
Neuralink.
What'd you say?
Get your dog some Neuralink. Go talk to Elon Musk. Get Neuralink. You just text your dog.
Yeah.
Let go the fucking ball.
Yeah. Let the ball go. Okay. I don't even think that'll work. That's what I'm saying. You know, the dogs that are like stubborn and shit, I'll say bullheaded. Like they want to fight. You know, they're like, I don't. You got to fight me for this. Like, that's what they thinking. You know, like, you got to fight this. You got to pry this shit out of my mouth. And my jaws are so strong, you're not opening my mouth with shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't pry my mouth open. I dare you to put your fingers in there. So when I rebite and your fingers are there, you're getting your fingers fucked up.
Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to talk to that joint.
No, you're not doing that. You're not putting your hands in AK's mouth. You're just not going to do it. It's just not. You're not going to fucking do it. You're just like, all right, it's yours, bro. You can have it. You know what I'm saying? You got it, AK. You got it. I'm not doing that shit. But now I know how to deal with dogs that have V10, V12 motors. As a puppy, I'm going to be manhandling them as a puppy, but I'm doing it out of love. I'm not doing it to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to turn on their fight drive. You know, I'm their buddy, but I'm doing it calm and assertively so that they know I'm not trying to fight you, but I still have enough authority to get what I want out you. Like, bro, you got enough fight in you, but I'm more powerful than you, but I'm not going to fight you to engage your fight drive. You know, because now I'm counterproductive in what I'm trying to teach the dog mentally. You know, I'm trying to get that computer trained.
See what functional focus said?
Here, let's put that up there. Okay, he says train an out command with 2 toys while they don't want to let go of the other. You show them you have something else they want, and he drops the remotes. The other toy, you attach it to a word. What does it say? In voila. And voila. Oh, and voila. Okay. Yeah. That works, right? But watch this though. Oh, watch this though. Okay, I got 2 bones in AK's thing, right? I got 2 bones in there. Now, if AK got a bone in his mouth, it's already in his mouth, and I show him another bone, he'll look at it and I can throw it over there and he'll like track it, but he won't let that other bone out of his mouth.
Damn.
He'll track it, right? He'll go after it, but he won't drop that one and pick up the other one because he already got something in his mouth. As long as he got what he got in his mouth, he's like, I'm not letting that go until I want to let it go. You know what I'm saying?
He's already on. He already got what he got.
What he wants, exactly. He got what he wants. Like, it's not a game to a dog like AK. A dog like AK, he just want to bite shit. So he not playing a game. His game is, I got what I want in my mouth. I'm cool. Oh, you got another bone? Okay. Throw that over there. Okay, cool. I'll track it. The bone is right there. Okay. In his mind, like, I can go get that bone when I want it to. It's right there. You know what I'm saying? So certain dogs, you can do that. And and what you probably started doing, functional focus, is you started them out young. And again, this is what I've learned. Start my dogs off young where I can control the narrative and I can manage the drive. And then if I need to manhandle them to get what I want, which is, like I said, if I got to take Tiger Shark's mouth, open it up, pull the bone out or the ball out, I can do that. And then give it back to him. Okay, cool. Because all the dog is saying now in his mind is like, okay, he wants the ball. I can't overpower him. Even though when he gets older, he will be able to. But as a puppy, you know, with dogs is reps. So as a puppy, you telling that dog in his mind that he's not going to be able to overpower you when you take that ball out of his mouth. Even though in reality, he could when he gets older. But he's not going to challenge it because you already trained the mind. Yeah. You take it out the mouth, he's going to let it go.
He's already used to it.
Correct. No. That's me learning how to manage a V10 or V12 type dog that is so driven that, you know, you're not going to get them off of what, you know, it's driven towards. Like, you're not getting them off of that shit. You're not going to do it. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? When it's tired, then, you know, yeah, you might get lucky, but you got 2 people to rustle them off the shit. Good luck. But we don't want that, right? We want to be able to manage that level of drive in a dog, but, you know, could be much, you know.
So what happens when the AK wants to drink water? He drops the bone.
Oh yeah, for sure. He drops the bone for sure. But he drinks water when he want to drink water. You're not gonna put no water in front of him and like, hey, you're thirsty, Chopper? Let the ball go, or let the bone go. You know what I mean? Like I said, I tried that with the 2 bone shit. Kind of like what he was saying. I got 2 bones in this shit right now.
Art.
You know what I mean? I throw that bone in there, he'll track it, but won't let the other bone out of his mouth. You know, hey man, I already got what I want. Cool. That bone is there. Cool. I'll get to that too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just certain dogs are just driven for whatever they're driven toward, and they're so focused that you can't snap them out of it. Like you can't.
I'd get me a little squirt bottle of lemon juice for his ass.
Man, hey man, I used my fucking, I got a e-collar. I turned that bitch up, and he is so focused on his bite that he'll yipe when I had that shit turned up. You hear him, but that bone won't come out of his motherfucking mouth.
Fuck. Yeah.
Gets the lemon concentrate in his mouth, he might let go of it.
Man, that dog ain't letting go of shit, K, man.
He might spit out everything. He'll spit that bone right out, run right to the water dish. Like, get this off my fucking tongue.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that shit too. I'm gonna try a little lemon juice, man. I don't know if that'll work for him, man. You know what I'm saying? That fool is just one of those type of dogs. He got a mouth fetish. It's like something has to be in his mouth. It's just that type of dog. You know what I'm saying? He'll go to sleep and then have that bone he'll have his bone right next to him, but he won't have it in his mouth when he's sleeping. But I guarantee when he wakes his ass up, he got that with that damn bone in his mouth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is a blessing for me. That's all. That's a blessing for me because I can manage him that way. He's not destructive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's cool. You know what I'm saying? He's occupied. But if I didn't figure that shit out, man, I don't even know, man. He tore down his kennel when I first put him up in there. And then once I put that lid on there and gave him a bone, then he never stopped. He never bit at the kennel again. It's like, dude, you know, you can tear that shit down. But when now he got a bone, he don't try to bite at the kennel and tear it down. He just jumps his head through it. But he ain't never bit it down like he did before when I first had him in there with no bone. He jumped up and tore it down.
See, he kind of learned with when you trained him with the bone a little bit. Like he learned something with that.
I just bumped my head. I bumped my head on the fact that boy got a bite fetish. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just started giving them bones because I was giving all my dogs bones, right?
Yep.
But I give him a bone, and this fool always has it in his mouth like a cigarette. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then when he jumps, right?
He a chain smoker with the bone.
With the bone. But when he's jumping, right, where before he would use his mouth to tear the whole fucking roof off, he got something in his mouth that he don't want to let go. So he's not using his mouth to tear shit up no more because he don't want to let go of the bone.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I kind of bumped my head on how to manage him. He's got a bite fetish. So as long as he got something in his mouth, he want to keep it in his mouth. And then he's not tearing down his kennel. So now he ain't never tried to tear down that kennel ever since I put a bone on that bitch. He ain't never tried to tear that bitch down. You know, he just muscles it and rams his head up in there and shit. That's all he does now. But now I know how to deal with dogs that are V10s, V12s. I need to shape their mind as a puppy. I need to calm them. You know what I'm saying? I need to keep them calm. I need to find out. Like I figured out what with AK, like, okay, what pacifies them? You know, that's how I figured out with Black Hawk. What pacifies Black Hawk? Black Hawk don't like bones. He likes those Kong balls. Like he likes certain dogs like that flex, right? That you get in them rubber Kong type balls.
Yeah.
Certain dogs like certain things that give, right? AK don't like them balls. He like the crunching and he like the hardest shit that he can crunch. He like to hear the crunching and shit. That's AK. But Black Hawk he won't bite up. He won't even fuck with a bone.
So he's toy driven, basically.
No, not even a toy. It's just that Kong ball. Like, you know how AK will bite that spring pole with the bite sleeve thing on it?
Yeah.
Black Hawk won't fuck with that shit. I'll throw that motherfucker, swing that shit around him. He won't even look at it. But you know what? You know what he's looking for? That goddamn Kong. That's why I say you find dogs when you got dogs that are thinking dogs, you know, you got to find out what drives the dog, man. Some dogs ain't into toys and shit like that. Like will go after toys and play around with toys. Some dogs are toy driven. You know what I'm saying? Certain dogs like certain things for whatever reason they like it for. With that Kong ball, Black Hawk likes the fact that he wants to try to break it, but he likes the fact that it has some give to it. So that's his whole focus. He feels the give in his mind. He think he can break it, and the whole time he's destroying them Kong balls. He's destroying that shit. AK, he likes the hardness, and he likes the fact that something in his mouth, and he likes to hear that cracking sound. So that's what he want. He want to hear that cracking sound. He want to do that shit. He loved to hang on the spring pole. He love that shit. And then Chopper the Man Stopper, he don't fuck with no Kong. He like the spring pole thing, but he don't fuck with no Kong, no. He don't fuck with no Bones either. Those are all AK sons.
But he wanna kill dogs though.
All of them want to kill dogs except for AK. AK is the only one that don't want to kill other dogs. But Black Hawk and Chopper the Man Stopper, they want to kill dogs. Especially Black Hawk.
It's the their moms got it though. That fire.
For sure. That's definitely where Black Hawk get it from. He get it from Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's where they really, you know. But again, like I'm not a hunter, y'all. You feel me? Like, you know, but I got that type of level of drive in the dogs because of my genetics.
Yeah.
But I would never really get to see what my dogs can do because that's not what I'm out there doing with them.
Right.
You know? So it's like, okay, if I have dogs that have this level of drive, then I need to be making dogs that have that civil drive. And then based off that civil drive, I need to have my dogs going to an agency that can utilize that drive. Other than that, for me as a you know, someone who's breeding dogs and for my program, it's like, why am I making these dogs for? I like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll make some V8s for the sporting dogs, but to me, a V8 will be my lower level dog because I want V10s and V12s.
Yeah.
You know, I have the formula to make V10s, V12s. My hardest part now is what we talked about is putting those computers on them dogs now. Now I got to figure out how to fucking put that level of computer, the thinking dog in the V10 and V12, where it's like, oh, these dogs are just so hard. You know, the hardest dogs is the ones that's V10s and V12s. Well, what if I can, you know, put a level of control on them type of dogs? Like what would that dog look like then? Those dogs would be worth a lot of money. But that's hard. It's like what K-Man was talking about. I got to take a collie. I got to take this breed. I got to, you know, I'm going to do a lot of lab work to get that type of thought process in a V12, V10. You know, I don't think it's going to happen overnight. Well, I know it's not going to happen overnight, but it's probably going to take me maybe 10 years to get that level of dog. A manageable V12. You know, is that even possible? You know, that's something that I think about. Like, is that wishful thinking? It probably is right now.
No, I think it could be done though.
Huh?
I think it could be done.
I mean, yes.
And I think it's a higher level than V12 too.
I don't know, bro. V12 is, you rarely get that. You rarely see a dog like that in your lifetime, man. Like you rarely see an AK in your lifetime in person. A dog that will that will intimidate the best dogman, a dog that will overpower your ass, a dog that is so strong and so fast and will bite you to smithereens, nigga. Like real talk. Like you would not want to get bit by that dog. That dog will crush every bone in your body.
How big is that dog?
AK is, I keep him lean, right? So he's 112 lean, but if I let him get heavy, he'd probably be heavier than that. 112 and 26 inches tall. You know, big ass head and Malinois type mouth. like
Yeah,
long
well, I had a
ass.
dog like him that was 92 pounds. That was fucking. So I can imagine 112, 120 pounds.
Yeah, 112 lean though. Y'all see how I keep
Yeah.
them. So I keep them
Yeah.
lean, shredded with the tuck, all that shit. I don't let them get heavy and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I keep them lean. So if I let them, get lean or let them get, kind of weighty and shit like that, oh, he'll be heavier than that. You know what I mean? But the thing that really sets him apart is that all his like key components to what he is as a dog is what matters. Like the head, the jaws, and the mouth, and all the teeth. Even though he broke most of his teeth out of his mouth, but all the rows of teeth is like a Malinois mouth, but bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how Malinois and German Shepherds they got the muzzle, but it's long, but it's narrow.
Yep.
Okay, AK's is wide and long. So he got the wide cheeks and it tapers out to a point, but it's like wide and shit. So you got all that jaw power in the cheeks, but then the long ass Malinois mouth. What? So that's why he be crushing bones like that, because he got so much muscle in his jaws, but such a long ass mouth.
Like an alligator almost.
Yeah, like an alligator mouth. You know what I'm saying? Alligator mouth. And then the boy is light on his feet like a goddamn kangaroo. Motherfucker can jump high as hell. It's just a freak dog. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, a freak. So that's where it's like, okay, that's a V12. Okay, cool. Now watch this. I got a V12 Bulldog. I ain't never seen him before in person, but I got a V12 American Bulldog on ice and semen, according to Buff Dogs. I got a V12 American Bulldog that's intense and drive is ridiculous, uncontrollable. And the breeder told me that do not breed that dog with another high drive dog. They said they've done it before and it was always a disaster. They said you take that dog with a fucking a docile bitch. That's what they warned me. Like straight up, they warned me. Like this one right here, don't ever breed that bulldog with another high drive bulldog. You'll regret it. That's what the breeder told me. So of course I'm not gonna do it, right? I'm not gonna go, oh, I'm gonna try it anyway. No, because I already know what a V12 is. Now, I didn't have a V12 before that. Before AK. Okay. Now that I have that level of dog, okay, and now I understand what the breeders was telling me. I'm gonna do what she said. I'm gonna do what we talked about, okay, man, just now, like taking that V12 to a more docile bitch. Because it sounds good to somebody who never had a dog with that type drive. Like it sounds good. Oh, I want one. No, you don't. What are you gonna do with that dog when you get it? You're not gonna be able to contain it. What if that V12 got prey drive where it want to kill animals and shit like that? That dog will fuck your whole yard off.
You'll have to keep that dog in an enclosure.
Yeah, you gotta, exactly, a full enclosure with the roof that they can't break out of, right? Right, ready?
Yep.
Yeah, the roof, they can't break out of it, they can't bite out that motherfucker. Don't have no dogs next to it. Keep it in its own area, you know what I mean, where it's not instigated by other dogs or other animals. Yeah, that dog's gonna have to be in solitary confinement. Because that dog's gonna do whatever it takes to get out. You know what I'm saying? And then once it gets out, it's wreaking havoc on anything that it gets his hands on as far as prey. It's going to wreak havoc on that, and you're not going to be able to control it. You might have to put the dog down. Or if you're not around, your wife, your sons, whoever, your yard boy come out there and they are not you, and the dog don't respects them, then guess what? They're not going to be able to control that dog either.
Well, no.
My wife, she's been around AK since he was a puppy. know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna let her. I'm not gonna be like, hey, mama, go get AK and bring him up over here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in reality, she might not be able to handle him.
True.
She definitely ain't gonna be able to handle his intenseness. That's for sure. That's for sure. So having these dogs with this level of drive that we talking about, you know, V10s, V12s, okay, V8s is what y'all should be shooting for in your program. Y'all have V8 level type dogs, then that's good enough. That's good enough. You have a good program. You have great performance dogs if they're V8s, okay? They can pretty much do every job at a high level and they're manageable, okay? Good for your program, great for your program, okay? Strive for that. V6s for your consumers, your novice, okay? Good for your pet homes that want a nice little, you know, working dog and shit. That's cool, all right? You're not at a high level, but, you know, you're good enough. That passes. But, you know, we over here, we elite. You know what I'm saying? We top tier dogman engineers. So, you know, when we talking about the V10s and V12s, you know, that's something that we should shoot for. It's going to take a lot of time, a lot of work, but we should be striving for that. And I hope that you guys want to get to that level, but understand, like K-Man was mentioning, you know, we might have to be mixing a certain level of dogs to kind of get that temperament, that computer in them dogs, which will hinder our drive a little bit, but at the same time, we want to have balance. And that's what's going to take us as top tier dogman engineer. It's going to take us a lot of time and effort and money to get to that point where we can say, dog, I got a controllable fucking AK.
Hold up. But then what happens with AK and the Malinois? That's too high intense right there. That's going to be more than the V12. Or is it just going to be V12?
No, it's going to be V12, right? Now, what I'm hoping with the Malinois, okay, especially with Coco, right, is Malinois are very intelligent. You know, most of those herding dogs are intelligent, right?
Right.
So I'm hoping with the drive. And one thing I notice about her is, yes, she's high driven, but there are lots. The Malinois are softer. What I mean by that is they have a lot of emotion. So with her, she's really loving, right? So she's driven, right? But she'll give me her fucking toy out of her mouth.
Okay.
Okay. She want to fetch, she want to bite, all the shit, but she wants my affection. So as long as I'm rubbing on her, she'll submit. You know what I'm saying? Like she's intense, but she submits. AK don't submit. AK is not loving like that. Like he don't need my affection. He likes it when I rub in his ear. Like he likes that. All my dogs like it. I put my finger in their eardrums. Something that y'all, if y'all don't ever do that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, hopefully your dog got clean ears or whatever. But I always put my fingers in my dog's eardrum and I rub like a Q-tip. I rub in their ears and stuff like that. I pull in their ears, but I always rub my finger. All my dogs love it. It's like almost like a neutralizer type of thing for me. Like like
bonding.
Yeah, it's like a massage almost to them. They feel like real, like, ooh, they like that shit, right? So with AK, that's what he learned to like. He liked that. He liked it when I put my finger in his ear and I calm him and shit. But he's still like going crazy, but he's calm when I do it because he likes it. You know what I'm saying? But the Malinois submits. So that is still going to be a fucking ridiculous V12. I mean, you know, it might be uncontrollable too, though, Reddy. I don't know. I mean, but see, that's where I'm coming in my mind is like, okay, if the dog is smart enough, then those puppies are going to be nurtured for the first year, is working on the off switch, working on the calmness, working on the, you know, release. Like I said, take, you know, whatever they want, give me that. Thank you very much. Let go. Give me that. Thank you very much. Like it's going to be a process that I'm going to do for those dogs.
Right.
But yes, they're going to be V12s and V10s for sure. You know, genetically, it's going to be that way for sure.
Yep.
So, you know,
I think it'd be better when you breed those to the AK Kangal pups.
So
AK
let's say,
AK Malinois and AK Kangal.
yeah. They're taking those puppies and putting those
Yeah.
together too, and seeing what those do. Because
Yeah.
see, I see more like the AK Kangal to be more of a like a hardened level GSD damn near. More like still a livestock type of guard dog type guardian, but more hardcore. You know what I'm saying? Independent, of course, those Kangals are independent, but more hardcore in their ability. But the Malinois with AK, those are going to be more of the attack type, performance type dogs. You know what I'm saying? The military type dogs, where they're very handler driven. And then, like you said, based off of how they turn out, then possibly even taking those offspring from the AK and Kangal and the AK and Mal, and then bring those together and seeing what I can get too. But see, now that process for me, just like with all of us who are breeding our dogs, now I got to learn each and every one of those dogs. That's why even for me doing my program, I'm going to have me maybe a couple guys that I'm tied into that all those dogs go to. Like I get a couple of them, my other people's get it, and we can manage all those dogs, each and every one of those dogs off of that litter.
Yeah, because you have to keep the whole litter.
Yeah, I got to see what I'm getting out of it because I don't know. It's a F1 cross, so I can't predict what a puppy's gonna be. I got to keep everything, so I can see the temperament and the athleticism, the smart.
AK going have crazy variants.
Yeah, which one's taking more after AK? Which one's taking more after Coco? Which one is a good blend? Which one is something that I've never even seen from Coco or AK? Like all that shit is gonna play with that fucking F1 cross. You know what I'm saying? Will I get any freaks out of that because of hybrid vigor? I'm never gonna know by just keeping a couple of puppies and be like, okay, these are the best ones out of it. I gotta keep everything. And the same thing when I do the Kangal. So, I gotta keep it all. So even with that program itself, my bull herder program, like I have to do it. I got to do my whole program a whole different way. Like I'm gonna have to really build me a franchise first. You know what I'm saying? A Formula One, and then distribute the dogs amongst my franchise, and that like that's the team. Like that's how we operate. You know what I'm saying? Like we pushing these dogs, and we testing everything, and we breeding them together to keep the line going.
Yep.
Like that's how I would have to make my program.
Yep.
I really want to get these level of dogs. If I really want to give a true assessment of it and give some real feedback on the genetics, everything got to be tested.
Everything got to be tested. Facts.
It's going to take some time. It's going to take some years. It's going to take some money. And, but this is what it's going to take if you want a real program. You got to do it that way. You can't be making dogs and thinking that you're going to pick the best 2 or best 3 and, that's it. It don't work that way. It does not work that way.
Nope.
So, but yeah, so that's what we're not going to beat a dead horse when it comes to this, the drives and stuff like that. I just wanted you guys to understand the different breakdowns, how I kind of break my stuff down because I'm Formula One, so I put my dogs together like I put together performance race cars. I always see my dogs like a performance race car. I see myself as an engineer, and I think about every aspect of the animal. The only thing I don't have no control over is the spirit of the dog, but I can nurture the dog's spirit, right? Just like you have your sons and your daughters, and you raise them, and the baby comes out of your wife or your girlfriend, with a clear mental space, and then what you put in that baby's brain over time is how you develop them, right? Yes. So same thing with your dogs, right? The spirit is what's in them, but you as a good dogman or dog woman, you need to be developing the mind of that animal. You know what I'm saying? You don't assume that the dogs is going to have great nerves and the dog's going to be, some people assume shit like, oh, this dog ain't, this dog don't flinch for nothing and shit like that. This dog is running in the corner and shit. Well, motherfucker, You know what I mean? That don't mean that dog can't have good nerves. That means you got to work with that dog. You know what I mean? Like a dog. One thing about dogs, and I'm gonna close out with this. This is what I learned with my dogs. My dogs look to me for guidance. My dogs want my approval. My dogs want to please me. When I see a dog that's startled, I don't be like, oh, you bitch, or oh, I'm not fucking with that. No, I just kind of like, okay, I see you startled. And I give it an energy like, okay, well, you ain't gotta be that way. Oh, come over here. The dog will kind of creep towards me and I'll give it some love. You know what I'm saying? Like calm it. You know, like you're soothing the nerves. Like
I'm
you
seeing that with my dog, like, cause when they be shooting outside, like the first time he heard that, he just looked at me and I'm chilling. I'm normal. So he don't gotta bug out. Cause I'm not bugging out.
it,
Like,
it,
just
it's
chilling.
it's just it's like nurturing the
Right.
the mental is like telling your dog, like you said, it's okay. Some dogs need you to hold it, like cuddle it. You know, like some dogs, like even with your kids, right? You know, they get scared, they come to you. Oh, it's okay, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And over time, that thing that used to scare them won't scare them no more.
Yeah, they adapt.
They're like, okay, this is fine. Like, plus daddy's here, so I can go run to daddy if I'm uncertain. You know what I'm saying? Okay, cool. You know, but now it's like I'm not afraid of it because I've been taught it's okay. You know, like that is very important when you're dealing with dogs. Like a lot of people don't focus on the mental part of their animal. They like the drive, they like the athleticism, but they don't put no time in the mental space. They had their dogs in the kennel. That's all they do. It's in the kennel. When I deal with my dogs, and I'm dealing with my dogs every day cleaning their kennel, I interact with them every time I'm dealing with them.
You got to, because they're they're a living soul.
Yeah, they want that. Like they love the interaction. Okay, a lot of people don't do that. You know what I mean? So we don't want to pamper our dogs like fur mommies and fur daddies, right? Because they're still dogs; they're not human beings. But you still gotta, give that dog that confirmation that what, I'm here, I got you, I feed you, I love you, but you're still a dog, though.
Yep.
Okay, you still gotta be tough. You can't be no fucking pussy. Excuse my language, ladies. But in that, that soft side, like if we got working dogs, you gotta be a tough working dog. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you can be loving. You can lick me. You can lick my nephew. You can lick mama. It's okay that you like to get your stomach rubbed. But when it's time to get to work, you better go all out too. So understand that you guys got to nurture them dogs mentally too. So don't neglect the dog's mental space, please, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all will ruin a dog if y'all don't nurture the mind of that dog. You'll ruin it. And then you'll throw a perfectly good dog out in the trash because this dog is soft or this dog is scary. Well, motherfucker, did you put any time in that dog?
None.
That's why it's scary and shit. You don't put no time. You ain't forcing the dog to understand it ain't gotta be scared.
They don't want to put no time and effort into it. They expect the dog to already be the dog.
And that is wrong. Okay? That's wrong. We don't, like I said, we don't expect our kids to automatically be something. No, we put the time in to our children. You know what I'm saying? We put the work in. Just think about all the young kids that make it to the pros and stuff like that they daddies and stuff was in their life, and or they had other men in their life that really put the time in with them. And that's why they're in the pros.
Yeah.
But they had somebody take the time and develop them. That's what we got to do with our dogs, is develop them mentally.
And we got a short time with the dog.
Yeah, what 12 years, 10 to 12 years?
Yeah.
So it's definitely crucial.
Considering how much time you get with your kid before you send them out into the world.
True. Yeah, you get 18 years. And honestly, you know, shit, the first 3 years of your dog's life is the most important.
Yeah.
And then by 3 years old, you know, shoot, your dog should be, you know, a well-trained machine. You know, your dog should be an elite dog at 3 years old.
Facts.
But, you know, I mean, it sounds good. A lot of people, they know they listening to us already, but that don't mean they ever going to apply the things that we talking about. You know,
apply it.
And I understand that, you guys. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that a lot of stuff that we talk about in the classroom, it might be over y'all's head. You know what I'm saying? But I would hope that you do take notes. I hope that you guys will play back the episodes and like really take food for thought what we be talking about in the classroom, and then apply the shit to your program. Apply these tactics mentally to your dogs. You know, really try to build the on-off switch and take those dogs that you got that could be, you know, V8s through V12s, and like, man, love on them, man. Don't be in a rush. Don't rush with these dogs, man. Like, just let your dogs, because we don't want no liabilities, man. Unless you really got military dogs that's really war dogs. Most of y'all, I don't even have them yet, but I'm trying to build them. But in reality, like, I don't want my V10s nowhere near the public, because in reality, like, I can't afford the liability if somebody get bit. Like we were talking about that Rottweiler came in that bit that motherfucking person's fingers off. Like, I can't have my neighbors all of a sudden running up on my dogs on accident and shit. Oh, that's a cool dog and get bit. Nah, I can't be having that shit.
Facts.
But how do I prevent that as much as I can? Is like I was saying, taking that dog that's a V10, V12, socializing that motherfucker. Maybe it's just, you know, your closest people, but it's more people than you, right? It's not just you, because that dog's gonna understand you, but let somebody else come around that's not you, that's really not a threat, but just as a stranger.
You ain't playing that game.
Yeah, it's a wrap, man. You know what I mean? That person's gonna wish they never came by.
Yep.
So, anything else you guys want to add before we close out time?
I think we got it. We covered it.
Good.
Yeah, I think we did too, man. So, you know, just pay attention to your dogs. You know, V8s is great. Again, V8s is great. Y'all can produce V8s. Y'all got a good program. You know what I'm saying? You get into the V10s and V12s, that's a little bit harder to do, and those dogs are harder to come by and a lot harder to control. So if you ever come across that level of dog, you know, count yourself blessed, but at the same time, you got a lot of work on your hands. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, but other than that, man, we out, man. You know what I mean? Salute to you guys, chat. Salute, caveman. Salute,
Salute.
baby. Yeah, we out, man. Let's drop the mic.
Chat. See y'all next week.
Yes, sir. Salute.
Peace.
Peace.